markets, and this has fostered a culture of saving and investment. By embracing technology, the capital market space can reach new investors and enable sustainable investments. So based on this, the theme for this year's World Investor Week is Tech-Enabled Financial Inclusion, bringing sustainable finance and investment opportunities to everyone. And this theme recognizes technology as a
favorable return. How do you get started? Visit www.sbgsecurities.co.ug. Click on our offerings, go to the Form tab, look for unit trust forms, and proceed to fill out the relevant application form.
Thank you, Olive.
When you're done with the form,
Good morning,
download it
ladies.
and attach your passport-sized photograph
Good morning,
and both
ladies.
faces of your national ID.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Then send your document to the email address
Good morning, gentlemen.
sbgsinvest@stanbic.com.
All right. Thank you, and
You can just
welcome
walk through our doors and
everyone.
we'll do
It's
the
really
rest.
happy to see. I'm really happy to see that the room is
Hello
getting
to the
full,
Stanbic Unit Trust,
and it's an exciting
investment
day.
vehicle that allows you to pool your money
And as
together with several
Olive has
investors
just
to
mentioned,
deliver a
today is
favorable
about
return.
financial
How do you
inclusion
get started?
and creating investment
Visit
opportunities for women. Isn't that an exciting topic?
www.sbgsecurities.co.ug.
So
Click
simply
on our
put,
offerings,
we're here to learn more
go
about
to
how
the
to
Form
get
tab,
rich
look
or
for unit
richer
trust forms,
as women,
and
right?
proceed to fill
Yeah.
out the relevant
So,
application form.
I should have said
When
all
you're
protocol
done with the
observed, so
form,
all
download
protocol
it and attach
observed.
your passport-sized
And
photograph
so this
and
is day
both
3
faces
of the
of your
Women
national
of the World
ID.
Investor Week.
Then send
And
your
this
document
week
to
has
the
been
email address
specifically dear to our hearts as the Uganda Securities
sbgsinvest@stanbic.com.
Exchange,
Or
because
you can just walk through
it
our
speaks
doors
greatly
and
to
we'll do
all
the
that we're
rest.
trying to do in the investment space and in the capital market
Say hello
space.
to the Stanbic
So
Unit
as
Trust,
Olive has
an
already
investment
spoken
vehicle
to,
that allows
this
you to
year
pool
the
your
World
money
Investment
together with
Week has
several
been
investors to
done with the
deliver a
USE
favorable
in
return.
partnership
How
with the
do you
Capital
get
Markets
started?
Authority. So
Visit
the bigger and the better. And
www.sbgsecurities.co.ug.
before I take us through just a brief
Click on
program,
our offerings,
I'd like to also
go to the
just
Form tab,
invite you
look
all
for
to
unit
open
trust
your minds
forms,
and
proceed
be ready
to
to
fill
learn more,
out
to
the
engage
relevant
more. This is an
application form.
interactive session. We're going
When
to
you're
have
done with the
a
form,
number of speakers,
download it
and
and
we're also
attach your
going to have
passport-sized
a
photograph
Q&A and all those
both faces
discussions.
of your
So
national
please take
ID.
advantage of the
Then
room
send your
and this
document to
space.
the
This is a
email
safe
address
space. This is an open space, and this is a learning
sbgsinvest@stanbic.com.
opportunity.
Or you can just
Yeah.
walk through our doors
So
and we'll do the rest.
without going any further, to start us off today, we
Say
will
hello to the
have
Stanbic Unit
a person
Trust,
who
an investment
works very
vehicle
closely with
that
us
allows
at the
you to
Uganda
pool your money
Securities
together with
Exchange,
several investors to
Miss
deliver a
Renita
favorable
Jacinta
return.
Nabisubi.
How do you get started?
Yes, we do share a name.
Visit
So Renita serves at the Uganda Securities Exchange as a non-executive director, and she also sits on our Audit and Risk Committee, Business Development Committee, and Finance and HR Committee. In addition to that, Renita also serves as the lead digital economy at the MasterCard Foundation, and I will repeat, lead digital economy. So what better person to start us off in today's very exciting discussion? And Renita will be giving...
Intersection of finance, technology, and inclusion becomes even more vital. Financial inclusion, especially for women, is key to economic empowerment. Today, millions of women in Uganda remain financially excluded due to structural and cultural barriers. According to a study by McKinsey, improving women's economic participation could add approximately $11 billion to Uganda's GDP by 2030. I had to, that figure is so big for me that I had to go back and place the zeros all the way. So that's what we are missing today. And technology is the key to making this happen. Digital platforms like mobile money, online trading, and mobile banking are breaking down these barriers. Currently, 64% of adults in Uganda use mobile money to access formal financial services. At the exchange, we have embraced this shift. Through partnerships with MTN and Airtel, we've made it possible for any adult with a phone to open a trading account and buy shares via mobile money and USSD. We've also developed the USE Easy Portal application, which allows investors to monitor stock performance, view balances, and manage their portfolios independently. So I'll pause there for a second. When I was growing up, a long time ago, I used to watch these movies which showed these affluent people in the United States, saying, calling someone and saying, buy me those shares, buy me the other ones, sell those. And so I always wanted to be part of that, and I could never imagine how all the way in Uganda I could have that opportunity. But guess what? That's here now, and soon, even with just 100,000 shillings, you'll be able, using our channels and platforms, to buy into the government issued bonds.
Particularly this week, we'll have a couple
so over and above that, though, we must go further. Financial literacy, particularly for women, is essential to empowering them as investors. The exchange is committed to ensuring women take control of their financial futures, leveraging technology to help them confidently navigate the stock market. So during this week, we're hoping that you will get more insights into how, as a woman looking to place your savings into an instrument that could generate you more money, you will learn how you can do that through the USE, but also as a woman leading a business, how can you raise capital for your business? Therefore, together, we can build an inclusive financial system where everyone thrives. Thank you.
Then on Friday, we will have an event.
So on that note, it's my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Ms. Josephine Ossiya. She is a distinguished professional with experience at Standard Chartered Bank, National Social Security Fund, and Shell Uganda, among others. Currently, Josephine serves as CEO of Capital Markets Authority, our proud partner for this year's World Investor Week. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Josephine to give us her address.
Events on X Spaces where we'll be able to reach out to the public on this particular topic of tech-enabled financial inclusion, which will be held on Monday at 7 p.m. And we request you that you visit our website and see the programs that are available, and request you to fully participate. The capital markets and the stock exchange particularly have had sponsors this year, and we partnered together to ensure that we provide more visibility. And in addition, we've had
so good morning, everyone.
Sponsors come alongside us.
Hey, my dears, we've had breakfast. A little bit more energy. Good morning.
Thank the sponsors for
yes, I'm really, really happy to see all of you. The room is full, and I'm excited about this day.
throughout the week.
I think I will take the easier route. I see so many distinguished people in this room, so all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. So it's really an honor for me to stand here as part of this very significant gathering of women in business, in investment, those who are interested in business, and the gentlemen who have been able to grace to be here with us. I think they need a round of applause. At some point, Paul was so afraid that he was the only gentleman in the room, but yeah, there are some other gentlemen here. So this year's theme is tech-enabled financial inclusion and bringing sustainable finance and investment opportunities to everyone. And in this particular space, we are going to talk about bringing these opportunities to women. So it speaks to the heart of finance, of the future of finance. So leveraging technology to ensure that nobody is left behind. And just listening to Jacinta, I think there's a lot of potential and there's a lot of impact that we've already realized by introducing technology. And I want to thank the USE for making USE one of those tech-enabled stock exchanges in our country. So why does this financial inclusion and tech matter to us as women? So we have to recognize that financial inclusion is not a goal. It's more than a goal. It's something that is going to impact lives. It's a catalyst for social and economic transformation, and for women in particular. As women stand at an intersection of potential and of opportunity, and I think you've all heard the saying where they say that when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And for us who grew up those days when bringing up children was a community thing, I think we saw the impact of that. Where in a community where if you misbehaved, not only your mother would discipline you, but the neighbor, anyone who found you on the road and they heard that you misbehaved, they would also reprimand you. But that's the impact that, that as women we can have. Yet with all this, as women, we are still facing a lot of barriers in accessing finance, in raising capital, and even in making informed decisions. And that's why we felt that there has to be a specialization for women. So I would like to quote Kristalina Georgieva, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, where she said that when women access finance, they invest in families, in education, in health, and they're a key part to a solution to economic challenges. So closing the financial inclusion gap for women is critical in achieving sustainable development. And even in Uganda here, as we talk about the tenfold growth, we have to make sure that the women are included. Otherwise, that goal will be so far away. I recall once many years ago in 2011, we were doing a project in the villages of Nyenga. I don't know how many people here know where Nyenga is located. Anyhow, so there was this group of women, and they were each given 100,000 shillings. And that 100,000 shillings was for them to start a small business. So there was an NGO that was run by Austrians. So they would take a child from your home to help educate, but they would then give money to the mother to start a business to be able to look after the family. So these women were given 100,000 shillings each, and they were a group of about 9 women. 3 years down the line, that 100,000 shillings had multiplied, and they used to save. So once you start the business, they would save weekly. 3 years, the women were able to buy a grinding machine. That is in about 2011, about 10 years ago. But you can see what 100,000 shillings can do to transform if you invest it purposefully and you save it. And I'm just thinking, imagine if then they had the opportunities of all these investment vehicles that we have like CISs, what more could they have been able to do? So we just see how women, and interestingly, when fathers were they finally zeroed on the mothers, when fathers were given that 100,000 shillings, it disappeared. So, you know, and for us it was just amazing to see that difference of how women can use money. So today's theme really holds a significant, special significance. Technology has been harnessed effectively to enable women entrepreneurs and investors thrive with innovative products, processes, and making the financial ecosystem more inclusive, equitable, and empowering. But I still think that there are a lot of strides that we need to do in that space. The digital revolution has opened doors that were previously closed to many women, especially in undeserved communities. So the mobile banking, the digital wallets, the online investment platform, has been said. And this has helped to really close some of the financial literacy gaps. So for women seeking to raise capital or to grow their savings, technology offers an unprecedented opportunities. And so therefore, mobile phones have really become a crucial tool for financial inclusion. So I come from Katakwi. Remote, we call it no village ahead. That's how we call our place. So usually, without boasting, the women work harder than the men. The women build the houses, they go to the garden. So what used to happen is once the women have done their have grown their crops and they take it to the market, or some of them would use it they would brew the local brew, which we call a John, and take it on market days. What would happen when the women would come back? They would find the husbands waiting to collect the money. But now, the money is in the phone. So and for us as women, it now empowers the woman because she's the only one who has a password. There's nothing the man can do. But those days they would actually collect the money from the women and use it for other things, including marrying another woman. Yeah. So you can see in very small ways how technology actually is improving and changing lives. So the GSM 2022 Mobile Gender Gap Report indicates that 68% of women in low and middle income countries now own mobile phones. And therefore mobile services which allow for savings, payments and transfers without needing a formal bank account have been key in increasing access to financial services for women. So in sub-Saharan Africa, we are 33% of women who use mobile services, and this is up from 28% in 2017. But I think this number needs to move to about over 80% of the women should actually be using mobile phone services. Data has also indicated that where mobile banking is rapidly growing, there's been a reduction in the gender gap. And an example is South Asia, where the gender gap was at 20% in 2017, and now that has shrunk to 12% in 2021. So this really shows the impact of what mobile banking and the digital innovations can do. So today, a woman in a remote village can access finance services with a click of a button, opening up markets and connecting with customers, suppliers, and even investors globally. And I don't know how many of us, I think for me since COVID, I don't know how many times I've gone to the market, honestly. Because I have my lady who I call, I give her my list of the shopping things that I need to get from the market, and they get delivered. Those are things that we were never able to do. It would mean every Saturday early morning you have to go get into the mud of either Nakawa or Kalere, but now all you do is just call and the goods are delivered at your door. So the lady is selling and you're also happy. So those are some of the small interventions that you see. And I think they're probably selling a lot more because those days now you have your dedicated list of customers who will call you and your business continues to grow. So really, we cannot understate the impact that digital innovations have had in the lives of women. So financial literacy programs also are delivered through mobile applications, and this is also helping to bridge a gap in terms of financial knowledge. And in a number of countries, for example, India and Nigeria, it was found that women who participated in mobile-based financial literacy program improved their financial management skills by about 43% on average. And therefore we ask ourselves, what are we doing in this space? Do we have any programs that we are trying to put in place to educate the women at the levels lower than us? I think these are some of the things that we need to think about and see how can we practically engage with these women and be able to change their lives. So it's impossible to overstate the potential of women in driving economic growth, and I was shocked on the 11 billion that was mentioned. I was like, oh wow, that's quite a significant figure. But yet for these women entrepreneurs to be able to reach their full potential, we must ensure that they have the right tools and the right systems in place. And therefore through this digital transformation, we'll be able to expand markets and also encourage and be able to provide operational efficiency and technology that can support these women-led businesses. So I don't know, there are some innovations in the e-commerce and in the agriculture space, and these have had an impact of where 80% of women in smallholder farms in Africa who use mobile-based platforms have now got improved financial services. So again, there are things that are being done in different parts of the world, but I think we need to bring those things home to Uganda to be able to really impact the women in Uganda. But even as we talk about technology, and particularly for the women in business, I think one other thing that we shouldn't forget is the things around corporate governance. Even as we set up these businesses and they are tech-enabled, we should always ensure that that we are following the key corporate governance principles, because it's really a cornerstone for sustainable development. If anybody is to come and give you money, your corporate governance should be up to speed. People will only trust businesses where they are comfortable with the corporate governance in that. So even as we drive technology, we also have to start to teach the women to see what kind of structures can we put. Do you have, it may not necessarily be a board, but do you have a group of people who you talk with, who you drive, who you talk about strategy on how to grow these businesses? And it's that most of the women businesses are really sole proprietorships. So I think we need to start to talk to them and see how can we expand this and ensure that we have more people involved, but also more the corporate governance principles are in place. I want to take the opportunity to, I think, thank those financial institutions and to recognize them that have been, and market players who have pioneered gender lens investing and also providing financial services. DFCU is one of those banks that has women in business programs. I think even Stanbic has that. And in our capital market space, we have Inua Capital that has a focus on supporting women businesses. And it's just to acknowledge their efforts and to thank them for that they are doing. So I encourage all of you, I encourage those of you who are not yet doing that to start having specific programs that will drive that will support gender businesses. We also have the GROW project, and I don't know how many of us here have heard about the GROW project that is being done by government of Uganda. It is also a project that is going to support women businesses by providing fairly affordable capital for their businesses. So all these initiatives, I think government of Uganda has recognized the need to support Uganda businesses, women businesses, and I think they are aware of the 11 billion that can be contributed, and as they think tenfold, they're saying, yes, we need to support these women. So women in business, please take advantage of that program and ensure that you get supported and get capital to drive your business. So as we celebrate this week, I think let's take a moment to collectively commit to empowering women as active participants in the financial system. And as women are not just consumers of financial products, but we are also investors, we are entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators. So we must ensure that every woman has the opportunity to invest in her future and to build wealth. And as Olive said, we're going to talk money. We're going to talk wealth, creating wealth. Yes, and that is why we are here, so that we can contribute to the prosperity of our nation. So I want to leave you with a challenge. So how can we as a society leverage technology to break down barriers and ensure that every woman, and I mean every woman, no matter where she lives or no matter what her financial circumstances are, has the opportunity to succeed? How can we promote a culture of investment among women and encourage them to take bold steps towards financial independence? And I'm hoping with the panel that we'll have here, we'll discuss that. But I also think as a key outcome of this event, we should have a call to action. A call to action as women in the investment space, as women in capital markets and financial services. What are we going to do deliberately to be sure that we are going to create the impact that we would like? It's good to come here and talk, but at the end of the day, we must have concrete action that we are going to take and to be visibly seen to impact the lives of these women. So as I conclude, I'm filled with optimism that the road ahead is filled with possibilities by harnessing the power of technology, promoting sound corporate governance, and working together. I think we can build a financial ecosystem that is truly inclusive and one that empowers every woman to thrive, to rise, and to lead. So I'll leave you with a quote from Christine Lagarde, the former president of the European Central Bank, where she said that ensuring that women have access to financial services is essential for building inclusive economies. So we need to harness the power of digital technology to bridge the financial gap. So let's take this opportunity during the World Investor Week to recommit ourselves to these goals. Let's build a future for where women are not just participants in the financial system, but leaders, innovators, and champions of economic growth. I thank you all for God and my country.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Josephine. As Josephine was giving her keynote address, something just came to my mind. We are all women here, okay, majority. We all have, some of you call them maids, some of us call them nannies, some of us call them house managers. By show of hands, how many of you here have those at home? And I have a question. Have you empowered them financially? Apart from the monthly pay that you give them, have you empowered them financially? By show of hands, how many of us have? So I'll give you a story. When my nanny came, I actually now call her my firstborn because she's family to us. From the village, broken family, dad is a deadbeat drunk, mom is having issues. Every week, there was something going on and she needed to send money back home. She has younger siblings that she had to take care of. And so one evening, she comes to me, she's telling me she needs a salary advance, the issues at home, she needs to pay school fees. And I thought to myself, okay, how is giving handouts going to help this young lady? This is a true story. So the thought of having her invest in something safe that she would easily understand came to mind. And I started breaking down collective investment schemes to her. And she was like, are you sure this is safe? She had so many questions. Will this work? Then she paused, she was like, you know, but if I don't send money home, the people back home know I'm in Kampala and I'm earning in dollars. And I'm like, if you save, you earn interest and your money grows and you'll be able to do more for your family. So about 2 years back, we enrolled her in a unit trust. She's been every month, because we cater for everything else, she's been saving and her money has grown and she's been able to do so much. So as Josephine was talking, that just came to mind. So I'm going to challenge all the ladies in here. It starts with the little things. That young lady in your house helping you take care of your child every day, preparing meals for you and your family. Start from there. Start from there. That is financial inclusion right there. Start from there. Okay, as we proceed, at this moment, just allow me quickly thank some of our sponsors. We wouldn't have been able to do this without our sponsors. Stanbic Bank Uganda Holdings. A round of applause, please, for the sponsors. Vision Group, Smart 24, MTN, Umeme, the Deposit Protection Fund, ICEA, Old Mutual Investment Group, the Deal for Facility, Level Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for them, please. Britam, Bank of Uganda, Gen Africa, NIC Holdings, NSSF, the Presidential CEOs Forum. Thank you so much. And Bank of Baroda. We thank you so much. We would not have been able to pull this off without your help. So at this point, we'll be having our first panel discussion, which will focus on empowering women investors, strategies for capitalizing on investment opportunities, raising capital, and overcoming challenges. This panel will be moderated by Alison Kwichiriza. Alison is the legal manager at the Capital Markets Authority. So Alison, please come forward and introduce your panelists.
Okay, good morning. Okay, that's better. First, I'd like to thank the keynote speaker. I think you really set the scene and the tone for the discussion this morning. One, the call to action. I like what you said. Financial inclusion is not an end in itself. How are we using that pathway to actually empower women? This morning is a very exciting morning, and I feel like there is no better time than to have this discussion now. Last year, the World Bank issued a report around women businesses in Uganda. There are over 34% of women businesses owned specifically by women in Uganda. But these businesses are micro and medium-sized enterprises. They need to go to the next level. To go to the next level, they need that patient capital. How are they accessing that patient capital? On the investment side, I think we now have a population of over 51% for women in Uganda. That demographic speaks to what women can do when it comes to investment. How are we utilizing these statistics as capital markets to inform how we reach out to the women to make sure they are part of this discussion? And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you a very exciting panel to lead us in this discussion. I say lead us in this discussion because it's for all of us to discuss. It's for all of us to put our minds together. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome to join me here on the stage, Susan Namaganda. Susan is an investment banker. She has over 10 years of experience in the capital markets. She's been involved in a number of market transactions, public offers in banking, insurance, and the telecom sector, NIC, DFCU, UMEME, those of you who are familiar with those transactions. In addition, she's been doing a lot of work in the fixed income market space. She says one of her greatest joys is to advise clients and help them build wealth. So people, you're in good hands. And I need to emphasize that she loves Jesus Christ above all. So put your hands together for Susan. Next, I'd like to invite Miss Eileen Ninsima. Eileen is a portfolio manager with Sanlam Investments, East Africa, Uganda. She has over 7 years experience in the investment industry, where she has developed a unique blend of client advisory and understanding financial market trends and outlook. She's currently playing a significant part in growing Sanlam's assets under management from 980 billion in 2017 to 2 trillion in 2024. A round of applause for that. And she currently serves a client portfolio of over 600 billion, including the Sanlam Unit Trust, where she has played a notable role in her ideation in investment readiness. Welcome, Eileen. I'd also like to invite from MTN Mobile Money, Sarah Bateta Okwi. Sarah is the Chief Financial Officer at MTN Mobile Money, Uganda. She's a finance professional with over 20 years experience in telecoms, consulting, and financial services industry, where she has worked in both Uganda and Rwanda markets. She holds experience in working with both corporate and not-for-profit organizations. So even the not-for-profit organizations are covered in this discussion. And her key areas of competence are in financial planning, reporting, risk management, governance, and stakeholder management, among others. Welcome, Sarah. And finally, from the Deal Flow Facility, I'd like to welcome Brenda Amoin. She's a portfolio relationship manager with over 14 years experience in the financial services sector. And she has experience in business and strategy development, stakeholder management, and financial risk analysis. So I'll just shift closer to my panelists so that they don't feel abandoned. So this morning we are really exploring the dynamics of the opportunities in the capital market space and the unique challenges and how we can support women really access these opportunities and indeed, as has already been mentioned, overcome the barriers that are hindering accessing these opportunities. One of the things that I noticed is, for instance, we don't have sex aggregated data in the market to highlight how we are performing in terms of investment for women. So perhaps as part of that call to action, that is something we need to take up as market players so that it can inform our progress. But I believe, having had your various bios, people are interested in knowing who are these people behind the discussion today. And I'd just like to give a few minutes to each one of you to share your journey in investment, in the investment world. How have you reached where you have reached today, both in terms of operating as a professional in the investment world, but also as an investor? Susan, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of you this morning. I'll start off, my story is long, but I'll cut it short. But my story is not anything short of divine. It has been God since day one, and it started all the way when I was at UCU, and I was there doing BBA. And towards I'd always been passionate about the stock market. I used to see it on TV. I used to read a lot concerning it, and so I really wanted to study and, focus on that. So knowing that we're going into the third year for specialization, I honestly didn't want to do any accounting. And so I prayed and I said, God, you know what, I don't want to do accounting. If you could split this finance and accounting class, I would be glad. And guess what? We were the first UCU business finance class that was split, and my name was the first on the page. That was like confirmation that indeed I was destined on this journey. And so I graduated with honors and I set out into the world. Now, getting into the world, I was thinking, now I need to apply for the place that I want to work in, isn't it? The market. But in the market, I did not know where to start. At least I had heard of brokerage firms, and one that I had heard of was Dye & Blair. So I put in my papers, even when they were not looking for anyone to work. I put in my papers, and so I said, let me wait. But at that time, I was with a friend who were doing business. We made our first million during the UMA Expo. Went and continued selling, because I used to sell clothes, airtime at campus, so I continued that side hustle business as I was waiting for graduation. Then towards the end of 2012, you remember that time was the Umeme IPO. And of course I was fascinated about it, but didn't have an opportunity. But a friend told me, come, there is an opportunity to work on a certain transaction. She didn't even mention that it was Umeme. So I was like, okay, let me go. I just get a job as I am waiting. But I didn't know that it was in the market. Of course, they did not call me then, but I had put the application. And that time, the company was called Crested Capital. I didn't search about it. I knew the only broker was Dye & what? Dye & Blair. So fast forward into 2013, I receive a call, and they tell me come for an interview. At this point, I was actually a bit frustrated because I wasn't getting into the market. My dad was getting frustrated because I was rejecting all the jobs. So in order to please him, I allowed to do CPA. And at that point, I had already started. I was already done with like 2 papers. And so they called me and they told me, come for an interview. And I was like, where? Then I'm like, the only place I know I've applied is Dye & Blair. Then they're like, no, you come to Crested Capital. So I had reserved our paperwork from that time in 2012. And so I went through the interviews, and the rest is history. I entered the market. And when entering the market, I was, of course, fascinated. The first thing I dropped was the CPA. It's the first thing I dropped because I was like, this is not what I asked God for. It's like as if I'm counteracting what I had asked for. So this was to please Daddy. Of course, he knows I stopped at level 2. I should have really finished it, but I didn't. So I said, now let me proceed. And in the market, I started out as an intern. I'll not lie to you that it was a position that I got. I did internship for 4 months. Then I did, they are still waiting to see the retention and everything, maybe organize their finances. The first transaction was Nick Holdings, and they're like, you work an extra. So I did an extra 3 months. So I believe in that season, God was teaching me perseverance. Are you going to be able to stand this market? Because when people look at the stock market in New York and in London, they think it's the same here, isn't it? The glitz, the glamour, the Ferraris, It's not that, by the way. It is a lot. It's a jungle out here. Actually, the people that are going to come after us, those are the ones that are going to really enjoy. But us, we have had to pave these streets. So I did what? Nick Holdings was the rights issue was my very first transaction. Then they told me to choose where I would want to work, and then I chose customer relations, which was more of an advisory role as well for clients. And I really liked speaking to clients about investments, and I was really eager to learn. So I started with that 100,000 client, that client of just 200 shares, and the like immobilizing, doing the paperwork, account opening, for those who are in the market, that struggle, isn't it? So it was really a push, and I really pushed through. I rose up. I became a head of operations. I started, and I had a good mentor. I will not lie to you. I must commend Mr. Robert Baldwin. He has mentored me. Like, if it wasn't for him, and the safe space, and as a woman, actually at some point in Crested, we were now women who are leading the departments. So it was really such a joy. He would challenge you, would be like, Susan, you can do that. Now I know Alison sent us, and like, what was my moment? As I was reflecting coming here, because I was like, God, this has all been you. I saw God in my entire journey. A person who came from an intern to a person who was able to sit with different players. My moments were, when I was talking to God about it this morning, was the MTN transaction and the Airtel transactions. Those were my pinnacles, because that's when I was now leaving the brokerage side. For MTN, when we went for the first meetings, I was the only woman on that table. I remember Wim Valapute said, we need a gender balance. How can she be the only one? But it's because at that moment, I was the one who could do that job of making sure that we were the retail broker that was going to help deliver their transaction. Then for the Airtel transaction, I was still the one going out there for the meetings, arranging with Sanlam. The Aileen's at that time were coming, looking for them to buy into Airtel. And I remember I was the one who received the email from NSSF for the 200 billion investment. So that can only be God. From a person who dreamt that, I want to work in the market. So for me, it's not a mistake. I'm in the right place. Talking to God a few weeks ago, he said, Susan, you are where you're supposed to be. So for me, this is not just about getting the money. Yes, the money is good, but God has a bigger agenda for us as Uganda, and I'm here to play a role, and I can only thank him. Yeah.
Guys, I don't know how the next speakers are going to top that, but I am expectant. Thank you, Susan. So we've talked about perseverance, the jungle, and divine intervention. I don't know, Brenda, if your story is different. In one or 2 minutes, please.
No, definitely not as colorful and exciting, but it was really nice to listen to her and the passion. Yeah, I really like that. So Brenda Monyik is my name. I work with the Deal Flow Facility, which is a program under FSD Uganda, and I'll just quickly talk about what we do. We do support growth stage businesses in Uganda to access private capital. We'll speak about that later. So my journey has really been mainly in the financial services sector. I can't go back to university because I had a very, very colorful university life that was really not academic, so we'll not talk about it. So mine really the excitement started after I started work. So now, yeah, so I've really been in the financial sector, I've been in banking, I've been in consultancy, and now we are in the development world, supporting businesses in Uganda to access capital, and I'm very passionate about supporting businesses. I'm passionate about seeing women rise to the top as they do their businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. We are learning, people. We are learning work without Jack, but now work without play makes Jack. But now work without play makes Brenda. Yeah. Well. I'd like to invite Sarah. You're in between, the intersection between technology, fintech, and investment.
Yes. Of course, I'm not in the market like all of these ladies here. Maybe I'm the recipient and a participator in the market. But just how I have interacted with it, maybe I'm the layman out of these very high professionals in the markets. One that actually is involved in the real making of the money that will come to the markets. Because we need the money if we are going to be investors, if we are going to grow ourselves. So my career really has been in MTN for the bigger part of it, but also had a chance to work with the non-government organizations, mainly with a project that was across Uganda, granting different businesses, and that is where I actually got to understand the hassles. Mainly women, trying to start out and getting capital and getting things going is not as easy as we think when we sit in our corporate offices and are doing what we are doing. But where I am now, I feel like I'm closer to empowering that woman that is out there because of financial services, because of the enabler, mobile money, that has included many people. So that is my interaction with the markets at the moment.
Thank you for bringing the money to the market. We appreciate. Now over to you, Aileen. Sanlam is making some significant strides. What was your aha moment?
Thank you. All protocol observed. Good morning. My journey is less or more similar to Susan's. The way we are here, I think I could be the youngest, if I'm not wrong. And just as Susan, I joined the market right after my studies. I did not wait for university, for graduation. Right after my last class, at the time, CFA was not being taught here yet, so I took a bus on Mashpoa, said goodbye to my father and my siblings as a firstborn, and went to start my CFA journey in Nairobi. Completed level 1, and I was called back home to start as an intern in Sanlam Investments. That was 7 years ago. From investment internship, becoming an analyst, and now a portfolio manager. The journey has been interesting. And my aha moment was just like Susan. I was not really interested in accounting or auditing, with a background in business statistics. I met key mentors that have walked this journey with me, and I think I'd like to applaud them, given the fact that they are men who have actually helped me move this journey. They're not in the room, but Mr. Alan Lotabe, Mr. Kenneth Legacy, those have been people that have worked with me in this journey. They talked to me about CFA. It sounded interesting, it sounded motivating, it sounded exciting, and that is how I have grown to become a well-rounded finance and investment professional today, supporting business clients, pension firms, insurance companies, ladies, gentlemen, everyone. I'm just happy to help grow their investment journey step by step. Yeah.
Thank you, Eileen, for that. I'm sure most of you are wondering, okay, we're supposed to be talking empowering women. What is the link? I think it's important for us, it's important for women in the room to understand that the capital markets, they can succeed in the capital markets. We've always looked at capital markets as a boys' club. No offense, Paul. But these testimonies show that you can actually succeed in the market. There's space for you, and who better to solve the women's problems than the women that are in the market? So a good starting point would be to have professionals that are joining the market more than we already have. I'd just like to move to the next question. Aside from having professionals join the market, we know that there are real challenges that women investors are facing. Susan and Eileen, you've been in the trenches. You said it's a jungle. Could you kindly share on the challenges that you have seen firsthand when it comes to women actually participating in the market? Just 1 minute each, please. Susan, we can start with you.
Okay. So what we have seen is, of course, women also do suffer from the burden of low incomes. If you find that we are going, maybe I'm going with a male for the same panel, say for a job, you'll find that they'll negotiate better. And for me, I'll negotiate less because I think I just need that job. I just need to get in there. So you find that the low incomes already do affect what the women are earning. And so that in turn also affects how much they're going to to invest. So there is also a need to be able to buffer what women are earning today. As Josephine was also sharing, if you look at the market stalls, the women it's easy for them to undercut their prices to have a sale, isn't it? But a man who is in the market, he will keep that price up until you are the one who will who will bend. So you find that right now we need to find that parity in regards to pay, so they're able to also to bring in that money. The other thing is that, of course, also there is something, I think we all know, the black tax, isn't it? We are all party to it, whether men or women, isn't it? But the biggest burden bearers of black tax is us, the women, isn't it? The man will have his money and someone will cry and they'll look at them and keep quiet. But for the woman, you're already looking in the bag, even whether it's a false story or a correct story, isn't it? To be able to dish out that money. And that is money that actually could be put in the investments. But because now I have to, of course, balance between helping my family, helping the needy, and also putting something away for the future, it becomes sort of a burden. Then, of course, learning. I've also seen learning has become kind of a burden. Women, we can only go so far, isn't it? We are not, Eileen was privileged to do the CFA. Janet, my sister there, is a level 3 candidate CFA. So you see that they are those, but how many are they? There are not so many. But yet when it comes to valuing companies as investment professionals, you'll find that there are not so many women on the table. So that means if even that woman, if Eileen wanted to bargain for a woman, if she's the only woman on the table against the men who are thinking otherwise, who are saying, you know what, for us, we are going with this transaction, and even though she wanted to put her voice, or maybe let's divert some money to this, to a woman program or something, she's unable. But if we can have more qualified women to get onto the table and be able to to negotiate and bargain, because men bargain hard. I told you I was in those rooms negotiating price, you'd be dancing around the same thing. But for them, they know how they are cornering themselves to be able to get to that price. For you, the woman, you're saying, why don't we just get done with it, isn't it? We already know where we want to be. But you find that that is a challenge. So as an investor, as an investor, we are challenged by those low incomes, the needs of our families to bring the money. Then as professionals who are working in the investment world, you find that it's also becoming a challenge for us to actually assert ourselves on the tables to be able to bring what we can bring on the table.
Thank you for those insights. The gender wage gap, there's power in numbers. I know we have someone, we have a CEO here from the presidential forum, and I know she's taking notes.
Aileen, is this the same for you? Do you have any additions?
Yes, I do. And I think I'll focus more on my experiences in client advisory. I think as women, in our strengths as being the mentors of tomorrow's generation, and in our resilience and in our strategies, being strategists, there are key challenges that we are also facing. I'll speak to 2 or 3. One is obvious, but it also goes home waiting for a certain time T to start, or for a certain age, or for a certain moment. We always tell, okay, I need to get my first job so that I can start saving. Oh, I need to first give birth to my first child, then I can start saving. Or I need to first get married, then I can start saving. And in all those journeys, I've seen women being negatively impacted by that, because the journey is supposed to be started now or today. So that has been the major thing. I think the second thing is being risk averse. Whereas we have different risk strategies, or the way we look at risk and return in the market, as women, we are more risk averse than men. So we tend to look at more safe spaces to keep our money, whether it's cash, mobile money, and yet the men are out there. They're looking for the return, they're trying this and that. Of course, in our different age gaps or whatever, we could look at money and investment differently, but the push to look for more, the push to seek access to more information about what else we can do is still lacking. So I think it's something we need to speak to, need to continue building awareness on, so that $11 billion can be achieved by 2030, as our keynote speaker said. Yeah, I think, thanks.
Thank you. We have a challenge. Women, we are procrastinators. How many of us have SCD accounts? I see some tables where there are no hands. We have brokers in the room. There's a table there. A broker needs to sit there. There's another table behind. Yeah. I think before we end this panel, those people should have opened an account, an SCD account, and it's a very straightforward process. Yeah. Not so? All right. I'd like to shift a little bit. We've been talking about investing as women. But what about raising capital? Now, I know the Deal Flow Facility has been doing some amazing work around being able to bring seekers of capital to those that are able to provide. And Brenda, at this point, I just want to loop you in to share what you've been doing and what strategies you've found efficient in terms of women businesses being able to raise capital.
Thank you so much for that, Alison. How many of us have businesses or side hustles? Yeah, I was going to be shocked because I think it's like a Ugandan thing. You're actually frowned upon if you have no side hustle, right? So at what point then do you get your business or side hustle to the next level? So at the Deal Flow Facility, we really focus on private capital. So that is for example, your private equity and private debt. Those are the areas in which we focus on as alternative sources to finance. Not to undermine what the banks do, but it's also good for you to have alternatives out there, especially for women and the challenges that my fellow panelists have spoken about. So I think for women to be able to position themselves to raise capital, and this is not just in the private space, but also with whether it's a bank or you have to get money from your circle, or whether you even need to get a grant for your project. The first thing is to formalize your business. I don't know how many of your side hustles are registered. The taxman is not in the room, so many of us fear to register our businesses. But the first thing is you need to formalize your business. Is your business formalized? Are you registered? Are you remitting taxes and doing all those the things that are required of you by the regulators. That is in itself the first step. And then secondly, how have you structured your business? What kind of business are you offering? What solution? Is there a good solution and product fit for what you're offering the market? Sometimes we focus on businesses that are not investable or businesses that are not exciting to different investors. So what solution are you offering out there? And what structures do you have within your business for it to be sustainable? Or is it that when you're in hospital, the business also closes? And I think that goes to speak. I think we have an angle on technology, and it's something that our Josephine spoke about earlier, being able to call your market person. Sometimes you need to have structure within your business. Can your business survive a week without you? For example, so many times we are the alpha and omega of our businesses. If you sneeze, the business also falls sick, you know? So what have you put in place? These days we have so many digital marketing tools, we have digital accounting tools. Are you taking advantage, right, of that technology that is coming up to make sure your business is sustainable? And then, of course, we cannot speak enough about positioning your business as a woman. Being in this room alone, right, is a step in making your business better, because this room is full of different market players. There are banks, there are people from capital markets. So are you able to speak to them? Are you able to network and position your business in a way that opens you up to opportunities? And these opportunities do not only have to be financial, there could be opportunities that enable you to market your business, enable you to access different clients or different markets. And with marketing, it's not that when I speak to Alison today, she will buy my product. I may speak to her today, and then a month later, she remembers that she met me at the World Investor Week. So are you networking? For example, do you know who you're sitting next to? You have hustles, but I don't know if you've already told your neighbor about it. Yeah, so, and that goes to there's something that one of the panelists mentioned. As women, we tend to be shy about our things. You know, even when you are doing amazing things, you're the brightest person in the room, you have the most money in the room, you're the most beautiful person in the room, we tend to shy. And I don't know why God did it that way. It's unfair. I think it's a nature thing or something, but we need to rise above, because the men will shout about the things that they do. The men will shout about their businesses. The men will be able to throw their businesses in your face, and it's something that as women we don't do. So how are you positioning yourself so that today, you know, we have Stanbic, we have other banks, you have the deal flow facility, to make sure that you speak to any of these people that, you know, are working towards making your businesses better. And of course, the other thing that we need to talk about is, are you able to speak about your business? If they gave you a microphone now and said, sell your business in 2 minutes, are you able to, or are you going to, because you don't know your numbers, you don't know your financials, you don't know how much you made last month, you don't know how much, you know, what your expenses are, or how much you're making in profit. So that goes to show that you need to be very involved, and you need to have structures in your business that can make you or put you in a position where even when, you know, any investor, whether it's in the private capital space or the banking space or someone who is offering grants or technical assistance, can be excited in the first 2-3 minutes to be able to, you know, they're excited to know more about your business. So there are so many aspects, but, you know, you said 1 minute, we could speak about it all day. So briefly, those are some of the things that I could share about you being able to, and also just to mention that there are so many programs right now. I feel like it's a good time to be a woman right now in Uganda, because there are so many programs that are being tailored for women. The Josephine earlier on spoke about DFC Women in Business. In the development space, there are so many programs also in the private capital space that are specific for women, grants that are specific for women, whether it's, there are programs with MFIs that are specific for women. So how are you positioning yourself for those opportunities? You wouldn't know unless you network and you look for that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. I think it's clear that we need to be intentional as women businesses. I mean, without being formal, there's no way you're going to navigate the landscape of raising capital. So let's be intentional in that regard. Let's talk technology. That's the theme of the week. And who better than Sarah from MTN Mobile Money to share with us, because we know that mobile money has really changed the landscape of financial access. But how is this really trickling down to empowering women? What is the impact? And what are the opportunities? Technology is no longer the future, it is the now. How are we using it now, and how can we better use it to have the women empowered when it comes to investment, but also when it comes to raising capital?
Thank you very much. I'll start off with some statistics. Earlier you said we don't have much statistics about women and what they are doing in the marketplace. But from our perspective as mobile money, we actually do have statistics on women and how they are participating today in the services that we have. So out of our 13 million active, when I say active, they do a transaction within the 30 days of the month. So out of our mobile money active users, we have 47% of them are women. So at least we know that we are close to the half of the participation. And when it comes to Momo Pay, which is a service, a payment service that we are enrolling, or we've been enrolling for the last 3 years, that will reach everyone at any point. Even the duka near your home can have a Momo Pay, where we can actually do e-cash payments. We have 44% of women participating in that space. Now, when you look at our base and our 13 million customers that are active, of course there are more that have accounts, but they are not active. So I will focus on the 13. How has mobile money or technology played into this? Previously, for you to get access to any sort of finance, you had to have a bank account. And how many people are banked in our community today? But what technology and mobile money has done is that it has brought the service closer to those that were excluded. So that is what we are calling inclusion. So we have made it our aim that everyone must be financially included. MTN in general, we believe that everyone deserves the benefit of a modern connected life. But on top of that, we are saying that everyone also deserves financial inclusion. And that has been made possible by the wallet. That today, you do not have to have cash in your hands to transact. And this technological development is what has furthered the investment that we are talking about. So earlier I said, for me, I'm participating from putting money in the pocket for those that are going to be able to invest in the markets, in buying the shares, the bonds, the unit trusts, and all that. So what has the mobile money done? In reaching the 13 million customers, we actually go through agents, and agents are small businesses. These, if you think through how many agents you interact with, most of these people are actually ladies, if you've taken note. So what has MTN done? MTN is empowering these women by putting money in their pockets. Being an agent, you're earning money and you're able to save. On your wallet, you're able to do a lot of things. So accessing finance in form of credit that can actually run your business. MTN has put through lots of services in terms of loans that you do not have to go through, bring your land title, bring this, bring that. It is through your transactional services that we actually see. And we've noted that of the loans, the whole loans that are being given by MTN today, we have 46% women. Women are receiving these loans. But key to note, when it comes to repayment, the women are actually better at repayment. So the reason why possibly men take the higher portion is because their wallets have more money, they are doing more transactions than the women, but out of the women that have actually received the loans, 46%, the repayment for the women is better. What does that say to us? It means that actually, you know, there's a degree of financial discipline that women have. And that is why we need to empower ourselves, empower the women out there, so that we can actually grow our businesses. So what else has MTN done? So we have also the merchant. You see, I talked about MomoPay. And MomoPay is digitizing your payments. In other words, if I have a business and I can receive money, payments through mobile money, I'm able to keep my statistics, I'm able to know what is happening, and on top of that, I can be able to get a loan facility out of that from my transactions in MomoPay. So all of these services are actually helping a woman put money in their pocket. They are helping to grow their finances, and also giving an opportunity for investments, because most of our loan products you've seen, they have a loan facility as well as a savings. So while you borrow, you can have some money that you actually put aside for saving that will be able to realize interest for you. So the lady who gave us a challenge of what is it that we are doing for our nannies at home and, you know, all the people that support us, you can actually encourage them to do saving. I can save as much as 10,000, as much as whatever I have on my mobile wallet, and I am able to get interest on it. So that is growing financially for everyone, and we are including all the people. So on top of that, we encourage women entrepreneurs. So MTN in general has gone out to have a program that we run to support women entrepreneurs. That out of our supplier base, we noted, what drove this decision is that we noted that the few suppliers, the very few suppliers that we had as women, as MTN, the women were concentrating on the smaller services like, you know, cleaning, flowers. And so you see, MTN, if you look at where the money is, it's in the technology. But we did not have women in such areas. We didn't have women in the marketing. We didn't have women in the advertising. So what have we done? We have put a program aside to say, of course alongside other partners, to say we want women entrepreneurs. And this is focused really to ensure that women are uplifted even in the supply of their services, and these go through training. So we were talking about financial literacy and supporting. So we take them through a training, how to handle it, how to present financial statements, because many times when you have to put a bid or you have to do anything like tendering, you must produce a certain level of financial statements, of documents and all, and most times women were excluded. So we are being intentional about it by putting in place that. But most importantly,
and finally,
digitizing. You see, MTN, internet, we are here to support even the capital markets that we have put there. We are making it available that anyone can invest on their mobile money, using their mobile money today. Thank you.
And I think another round of applause for Sarah. You've given us quite a bit of information to chew on, both in terms of the investment opportunities, but also in terms of women businesses being able to position themselves to actually grow. At this point, I know we've had a lot to chew on from the panelists, and another round of applause, please, for them. But I'd like to open it up to the audience. We're running a bit low on time, and that's my mistake. But if we can have at least 3-4 comments, questions from the audience. There are hands up there. You can introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and then go ahead to ask your question.
Thank you very much. My name is Savia Nakakembo. I am a coach and development consultant. I support startups to scale up and provide the tools for them to be able to run into the market. I just have a question, a general question to all the panelists. Just to talk about the principle of intentionality, what deliberate actions are you taking as you to have every single year about 20 women that are doing the same work that you are doing? Is it very intentional for you to mentor, not just at a place of work, but just being intentional? Do you put out a call in your circles, different ways, not the people you know, but just an open call for you to be able to have about 20 people that are doing the same work you do? And also, a panel like you would come up with just a recommendation. Let's say if it's a capital markets academy for young people between the age of 18 to 25. And for such concepts and something like that, I as a person, I am happy to contribute to building a concept for different levels of women for us to be able to have the whole idea of capital markets blow out in Uganda, because I feel it's a very good concept that they are working on. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the next question.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Angel Walker from Virtuous Woman, that is Christ at Ministries. I'm a cybersecurity analyst, a mentor, public speaking coach, as well as a youth mentor under Virtuous Woman. I really love the achievements that we have made over the years. And I love what the previous speaker said about intentionality, because if we were not intentional, we wouldn't register this kind of achievement. However, my strategy perspective, that as we focus in the next 5 years, based on what the panelists have said, is to transform mind change in terms of long-term investment. Not just, of course, life policy and all that, but transforming mindset, because you talked about the black tax, and realized that as Ugandans, what is setting us back is setting up goals of maybe 1 or 2 years, and we need to put in a lot of effort to transform the mindset of women, to think about maybe 10 years, to think about 20 years, because that is that's the vision that we need to go to. Then the other thing is to, as we become more intentional into empowering women, I think we need to also highlight, educate, transform mind change in terms of digital investment. I think it will go a long, long way, and I really want to appreciate the panelists that talked about the grants, these different funds that are coming in, registering the businesses, because that could be also the gap that is setting us behind. So the whole point is that we focus on that area of transforming the women's mind to think about long-term investments. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. So we'll take one and then one more.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Agatha Nambuya. I deal in spare parts sales, car spare parts sales, and we have an e-commerce store for that. My question is on early financing for women. Usually it's a catch-22 situation with the banks. They want you to have a lot of turnover in order to give you money. And yet we know that most of Ugandan businesses die before the 3rd year. So what are you guys doing as the big people who have earned that good turnover to support women within the first 3 years of starting? I know you solved the situation of land titles, but still, what is that thing you're doing for the early stage startups? Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll take one more question.
The debate is becoming very interesting. Olive, I'm going to leave
two
your
more,
hands.
and then we wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Mercy Tumkunda. I'm a CEO at Stedfin Uganda Circle. That's the Circle for U.S. Embassy employees. Glad to be here. Brenda said this is a good season for us to be women in Uganda. That's really, it caught my attention. And immediately you mentioned that, I went on my phone and asked Mr. Google, the top 10 rich people in Uganda. They are all men. Yeah, they are all men. I took a screenshot. I even have the names here. And we are in this room, we are talking about these things. I also know that you mentioned we have someone here from, is it the president, CEO or something?
Yes, the presidential.
The challenge I ask all of us in the room is, what are we going to do to be in that space? Because we said we need to make money, right? Good money, not just money, but good money. What can we do to be in that space? Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Let's take one final and then give the panelists.
Thank you so much. My name is Barbara Ansale from YSEV. My concern is similar to hers. What are you doing to make sure that the average woman entrepreneur in Uganda can access affordable credit? Many times we hear of the grants, the loans, but the requirements are too stringent. You find that the woman on the grassroots who actually needs that credit does not qualify because of the requirements. So what can be done to make sure that she can actually access that credit? Thank you.
All right, Alison, over to you.
All right, so I'll just ask Brenda. The question on early stage financing, I think this is right in your docket. Yeah. What are we doing in this space? How can young businesses actually access capital?
Thank you so much for those questions. I'm now confused, but I first wanted to respond to her about it being a good time for a woman. I think what we can do is everything starts with us. The fact that you're in this room alone is a step in the right direction. Much as the top 10 richest men or even 15 men in Uganda, the top richest, I'm even saying men unconsciously, imagine that. But the top richest people are men. That goes to show you what we always think about, right? Those are the biases that are ingrained in us and we don't even think about. But at the end of the day, there's so much that is being done. If you also go back to Google and search for top female entrepreneurs in Uganda, you'll notice that that number is going up. There are a lot of women that are being more intentional about growing their wealth in different ways, whether it's with business or through investments and things like that. And also, I think we can also refer to the statistics that she shared earlier. So there is work being done, and that should not scare us or deter us. It really starts with us, and in a few years to come, that story will definitely change. And what can young businesses do? They are, of course, I think I mentioned earlier that there are alternative sources to financing. Most times, you know, people are asking for titles, they are asking you for collateral that you may not be able to afford as a young business. But right now, there are so many accelerators or incubation programs that are happening in the market that are supporting businesses from the startup phase. I thought I saw a banner for, oh, it was smart. I thought I saw Startup Uganda. So there are so many accelerators that you can be a part of. And this takes me back to what I spoke to you earlier on about positioning yourself and trying to find out what opportunities are there in the market, especially for younger businesses. At the Deal Flow facility, we tend to support more mature businesses at the growth stage level, but I can also mention it to you now, honestly, that we also struggle to get female-owned businesses that fit within our criteria, and we are being more intentional about supporting them, about offering capacity building to them, and also being able to link them to other programs that may be able to support them. For example, there is a NSSFI Innovator program that is really dedicated to women, to supporting female-led businesses or female-owned businesses that are at the startup phase. They are these opportunities are there, and you just need to be able to search. If you do a quick Google search as well, you should be able to be pointed in the right direction. But also, as we get those opportunities, I go back to my earlier point, are you ready for that kind of investment? Because you are looking for those opportunities, but is your business ready? Are you doing enough? Let that opportunity find you ready. Yeah, I think that will be it.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we could go on all day. I know that the discussion is very exciting, but allow me to wrap up this session. The panelists are still here. Feel free to interact with them after the session. But I'd like us to close with a parting shot, just a quick parting shot from each of the panelists. We've done a small SWOT analysis. We know our strengths. Financial discipline is one of them. We know some of our weaknesses. We need that mindset shift. But just speaking to the question on intentionality, if we can have a parting shot on how we can be intentional around breaking these barriers and unlocking these opportunities as we close the panel. We'll start with you, Brenda, and go down the line. Just your parting shot on that.
Okay. So,
sorry, intentionality? Yes, but breaking barriers.
Yeah, so like I said, breaking barriers starts with us. What are we doing to support the women in our circles? What are we doing to basically support the younger women and mentor them? If you're in a position to mentor, if you're in a position to offer advice and guide and expose women to opportunities, then it's something that we really have to do, and it's something that we are being intentional about. The Deal Flow Facility. Personally, I do run a podcast called the Rise and Thrive podcast. She talked about intentionality, and for me that is my way, because like I said, I'm passionate about businesses and entrepreneurship support. So for me that is a way of giving back. So it's a platform for businesses to share their journey, their struggles and how they've overcome them, and different opportunities in the market. It's on YouTube and different podcast channels. You can listen in, and for me it's for people to learn. So when you spoke about intentionality, that is what I'm doing personally. But it's like I said, it starts with each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Please subscribe to the podcast, guys.
To get the detail. Okay, Sarah. My parting shot on growth of wealth for women is concentrating on financial discipline. The panelists here said they don't like accounting. I'm an accountant and I like it very much. I think for you to be able to grow, you actually need to keep good records. Many times, women businesses are failing because they're not keeping good records. And as part of our program that I talked about, we actually take them through, digital skills, few skills here and there of financial management, which is very key. If you do not keep your financial documents well, if you don't keep your financial records well, there's no way you can record growth. There's no way you can know whether you're actually growing or not. And you won't be able to sell your business even when there's an investor that is ready to help. So my call to all of us is to keep good financial records of everything we do. Our side hustles, our personal expenses, everything. It will help us to progress.
Thank you, Sarah. Eileen?
My parting shot is going to be in line with the previous question that was about what are we doing in terms of mentorship, but then also leveraging on technology. So of course, in my line of work, I think I interact with about 20 women every year, just asking about the different investment opportunities. And as Sanlam, of course, we have leverage on technology, especially on the unit trust side. We've built our own system that has been able to tap into partnerships with MTN and Airtel in terms of being able to access investment through mobile money, and building our own mobile apps, both on iOS and our client portal. In terms of mentorship, I think Just this year, to give an example, I sat down, I brought around 5 of my young cousins who are in the university currently, first year and second year, and sat them down and took them through what investments are, what CIS schemes are, and I think that's part of the work that I do every day. And speaking into that, I think for me, my parting shots would be 3. 1, seek information. Seek as much information as possible. We are in the digital age. We are on TikTok and Instagram looking at those beautiful pictures. We want to travel. We want to access the world. But my call to you would be those social media apps can be actually molded. Mold your algorithm. Use your social media. Ladies, we all have mobile phones. I have seen everyone, at least in this room, has a smartphone. Mold your algorithm on TikTok and Instagram to speak to you in terms of investments, to speak to you in terms of financial growth. Use your YouTube. There's a lot of information on YouTube in terms of learning how to grow an investment portfolio, diversification, portfolio optimization from low to medium to high risk, types of investment classes. And as you do this, please look for a mentor, look for an investment expert to work with you. I myself am available. As Sanlam, we're available to speak to your groups in investment clubs, on those social media groups that you're in on WhatsApp while you're gossiping about the lady who beat up a police officer last week. You know, you can put us in those forums so that you can engage with you on how you can grow yourselves. And I think the last thing is, as fund managers, Sanlam, as the Capital Markets Authority, Uganda Securities Exchange, all these organizations have built digital platforms on LinkedIn, on Twitter, that have X-Spaces conversations, that have webinars. Take advantage of that. There's a lot of information. And I know in these rooms, as much as we are also doing this for ourselves, we are wives, we are mothers, we are heads of investment clubs. So take this information and feed it to everyone, up to the nanny that we talked about earlier, so that we can build financial inclusion and grow as women. I think for me, that's my call to action. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the call to action is taking shape. Josephine?
Yeah.
Finally, Susan.
Sorry, I missed one. Sorry. The other thing is, as we grow our businesses and our investment portfolios, as ladies, please seek legal advice. I think for me, in the last 2 or 3 years, I have seen that also be pertinent, especially given the fact that most of the times we are the ones who are in partnerships, whether marriage, whether with our fellow women or fellow men. Seek legal advice in terms of documentation, in terms of building your business plans. Protect yourselves as you grow your money. We want to be rich, but we want the money to stay with us and also the people we are working for in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for that announcement on behalf of the legal fraternity. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Susan.
Thank you so much. I think on intentionality, I have really strived to ensure that I'm unafraid, as Susan, to pass on the information that I have, because sometimes also we are the gender that keeps certain things to ourselves, isn't it? We are very competitive in nature. I do not want a sister to go ahead of me. But then for me, I've really tasked myself, and that has not been a problem for me. So I have released as much information as I can. I know there are people in this room who can put up their hands that I have taught them something. Put up your hands. Remy, I can see you. Janet. Yeah, Melissa, that I have taught them something. So I'm unafraid. However, for the ones that are outside this market, those ones have been on an investor basis. So those ones are actively advised. However, I'm open to be able to walk in the journey with anyone who wants to actually enter and walk and work in the market. So that is one journey that I'm able to pledge right now and right here, because it's possible. There is a lot of space, there's a lot of opportunities. The funds are growing bigger and bigger. They have told you Sanlam is at 2.2 trillion. They need a lot of people to manage that money, isn't it? So they need professionals that are well trained. So I'm available for that. The last one would be, there is a lady that I love and I've read about and followed over the years. She's called Folusho Alakija. When the CEO of Stedfin stood up and said there was no rich woman, she is one of those wealthy women. I mean, she's an oil magnate, and we're talking about industries. I think it was Sarah who mentioned that we are in the supplying of makeup, supplying of flowers, but this lady is an oil magnate. She has even shares in diamond mines. Of course, she also has the textile industry, and she really inspires me as a person, and I know we can get there. Our small businesses can grow into those large businesses. It's just that at times we are like, you know what? As long as I have a shop front that is maybe this big, I have maybe about 20 employees, I think I have what? I have made it, isn't it? We're even afraid to bring other people to come and walk the journey with us. For example, if I was starting up such a business, but then I know that right now it has gotten to a place where I need other partners, and I know that Aileen is best suited to come and join me in my business because she brings, of course, the money, but also she brings a different type of what? Of mindset and skill set. I need her, isn't it? So it is time to let go of, in Africa especially, of the mindset that I'm my own person, isn't it? Everyone wants to have a business. Susan Namaganda Enterprises. Yes, it's a good thing, but then it does not make any sense. If you look at Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway was a textile industry that one of his first investments, but it was not necessarily that he has these companies and he has grown them. He partnered with the late Charlie Munger, who was great at identifying the golden industries that let's invest here. And he was not afraid to share his space with other people. That is why it is time for us, when we get to a certain level, you need to know that I have grown this much. Now it's time for me to let on other partners come on board. It can either be first through via private equity, and then finally listing on the what? On the stock exchange. So thank you so much.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to close the panel. Guys, all good things come to an end. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our very able panelists. Thank you, ladies, for a job well done. I would like to thank you, the audience, for making this discussion vibrant and for your inputs and for your, I know you've also been having discussions around the table. Let's continue this journey of empowering women. Have a good rest of the morning. Oh, all right. If we can just have a quick photo.
A big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much, Alison and the panelists, for very insightful discussion. As listening to the panelists speak, it reminded me of a very hard conversation I had with one of my brothers a while back as I started work. I come from a family of 4 boys, okay, 6 if you count my cousins, only girls, so I was used to being treated a certain way. So I start work, and I remember I was ranting about one of my bosses at the time, not at CMA. And he told me, he was like, Olive, quit the whining and find your seat at the table of men. Yeah? When you walk into a room, are they seeing a beautiful face, a well-dressed lady, or are they looking at you and all they can think about is she is fire? When she speaks, the content that comes from her mouth, earn your place at the seat of men. Network. Do your research. Be well informed. If you're running a business, know your business in and out. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know this. Get mentors. We've spoken about mentors here. Get mentors. Get a fellow woman to mentor you, but also get a guy to mentor you. There are things that men see that we do not see. And he challenged me. He was like, the issue with you women is you tend to be very emotional. And it's something women always refer to when we are in a boardroom with women. Are like, the issue with her is she gets emotional. She's making emotional decisions. Be objective, learn to manage your emotions. So I challenge you ladies, find your seat at the table of men. On your seat, be the boss lady. So at this point, I would like to invite the CEO of Smart24. Smart24 has been a very instrumental partner to the Capital Markets Authority in terms of coverage and also our public awareness campaigns. Miss Allen Kabindi, kindly step forward. I'll give you 2 minutes to just give a few remarks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As she said, my name is Allen Kabindi, CEO of Smart24 TV. I'm so pleased to be a part of this beautiful thing. I'm always for the ladies getting together, pushing each other forward, and seeing good things happen. Not so many times I do this, but when I get an opportunity, I always do. At Smart24 TV, we're a platform that pushes businesses. That is our niche at Smart24 TV. So I don't have much to say, but what I can say is that for the ladies that are here and you want to get out there, push your business, put it out to whoever your target is, please come, let's talk. Let's talk about how we can make things happen. It is a nice thing to see many people getting out of the comfort zones. I personally am not I'm not a professional business person. I am actually a medical profession, but I've always not been I've been never afraid of getting out and doing different things. Actually, all my career-wise, until maybe 6 years ago, when I got into Smart, I've always been a medical person. But I step out, I take challenges. So for the ladies that whatever it is that you're trying to do, I say I challenge you to go out there and start up something. So thank you so much for giving me this time or this opportunity to speak to you. My crew, thank you so much for all the work that you do. Please, ladies, business, you need a platform to showcase your whatever it is that you're selling. Please don't hesitate. Come, let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can push each other forward. It is always a beautiful thing to see a lady stand up for another lady, push another lady. I've learned a lot from the panelists. Please, thank you so much for all that information. Stay blessed. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Allen. Thank you very much for always partnering with us. In the interest of time, we'll be moving on to our second panel discussion, which will focus on investment success stories in the capital markets, focusing on insights from women at different stages of life. Now, this panel will be moderated by the one and only Miss Lynn Tukey. Lynn is the Communications and PR Manager at the CMA. With 9 years of experience in PR and marketing, she has a robust background in media and communications. Lynn is passionate about the intersection of technology and communication and online personal branding. And interestingly, her current research is focusing on how online personal brands of company executives shape public perceptions of their organizations. So I think the CEOs in the room, Josephine, Paul, should talk to Lynn. Yeah. Lynn's expertise has been recognized through several accolades, including the prestigious Tebere Mundi Award by Monitor Publications in 2018. More recently, she was honored at the 2023 Young Communicator of the Year by the Public Relations Association of Uganda and named among the top 100 most influential fintech PR professionals globally by Propel USA. So the CMA doesn't just employ anyone based on this bio. Lynn, please step forward.
Thank you, Olive. They said we shout about our side hustles as well. My CEO is there. My main hustle is, yes, like Olive said, I am in charge of communications and public relations at the Capital Markets Authority. Of course, the Kalango will come for the Capital Markets Authority, so please brace yourselves. So the Capital Markets Authority is a semi-autonomous body that was set up by an Act of Parliament in 1996, the Capital Markets Authority Act, CAP 64. Alison will have to explain what that means. Yes, CMA is responsible for promoting and developing the capital markets in Uganda. So we are a regulator, but we also develop the capital market space. Hence, this collaboration with our different market intermediaries to make sure that we actually have investor awareness, investor education taking shape in our country for the love of our people, and also having many underserved communities, such as the women in this room, because we as the women have been stepped on for such a long time, and it is time for us to stand up for ourselves. So, no offense, Paul. Paul, you'll be the joke here. Yes, so I just wanted to talk about, for example, the underserved communities and being the women being talked about today. Women in investment. We had an X-Space on Monday about investment opportunities for the youth, and we called different market intermediaries, and you'd be surprised there was only one lady on the panel. But that also goes to tell you something. It's the reality that we women are actually not participating, especially in the capital markets investment space. But surprisingly, why we are here today is to discuss the success stories from the few women that are investing in the capital markets. What are the other women missing out on, and how can we learn from them? Remember, we are here to talk about money, to talk about wealth, but also inspire our fellow women. So please join me in welcoming this panel of the very bright ladies that are actually investing in the capital market space. I will let them introduce themselves, but as they come in, please give them a round of applause. The first one we'll be having is Dr. Christine Lubega. Dr. Christine, she's actually a medical doctor. So clap again. You can just take the far left, yeah. We have Miss Vasta Kamara. Yes, I hear hoo-hoo, is that hululating? Miss Sandra Mutibwa. Who is doing the who? Continue. Miss Mercy Agaba. Okay. In that order. And lastly, we'll have Miss Faith Mwanga. That's the last one, so do more who's. Thank you. Clap for yourselves. You're all looking bright, vibrant. I really love that the room is full of energy today. Thank you so much. So today I said I would stand as the rest of the panelists sit, because it is also an opportunity to go and pee every 5 seconds in case I need to. Yes, given my condition for context. So I'll just let us introduce ourselves, since I didn't introduce you, in just 1 minute. We'll start from the far left.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name's Dr. Christine Lovega-Nadiope, a pediatrician. Let me hope I'm audible. Yes, a pediatrician by profession, that is a specialist in treating children. I'm an owner of a medical center. I'm a medical director. I'm a business lady and an investor. I have invested in real estate. I've invested in unit trust. I've invested in capital market, and many other various investments, which I won't talk about, but that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
My name is Vasta Kamara, and I'm the CEO of Harvest Multipurpose Cooperative. It's a cooperative that's affiliated to Worship Harvest Ministries. Yes. Oh, it sounds like we have some people from the ministry in the room. Good to know. Yes, my background is in banking and investment, and I'm passionate about investments on a personal front, but also on the corporate front. I'm also a certified leadership coach, and my experience in the leadership coaching space is of about 6 years, banking and investment over 11 years. That does not tell you my age. I am married with 3 children. I serve in the ministry, so in some of the spaces, you'll hear me being referred to as pastor. Wow. I am excited to be here today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
My name is Mercy Tumukunde Agaba. Like Vasta, I am a CEO at Stedfin Uganda Circle. This is a circle for the U.S. Embassy employees in Uganda. We are in charge of investing not only our money, but money of millions of people. And nice. So we are here to represent not only our portfolio, personal portfolio, but portfolio of the circles that we lead. Yes. Nice. I am a teacher by profession, by the way. Yes, I'm a teacher by profession. I am a student of economics. I am a mother. I am an investor. My husband and I invest in a very interesting product which you have never heard. They said we shout, right? Yes. Yes, I've never heard a product of fish sausages on the market. Ooh. Yes, we do the fish sausages because we mind about feeding nations with health meals and health good food. So please look out for them. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank
Over
you.
To you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sandra Mutibwa. I do investment advisory.
Can you hear Sandra?
Oh,
closer to the mic, yeah. Just closer, I think.
Yeah, my name is Sandra Mutibwa. Is that better?
Yeah.
My name is Sandra Mutibwa. Is that better? Is it me?
Try this.
Ladies and gentlemen, is that better?
do a hoo-hoo, please. Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Is that better? Yes, my name is Sandra Mutibwa. I'm into business development advisory, investment advisory, and I'm a farmer. I'm glad to be here. Yes.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you all and to see you all. My name is Faith Mwanga. I'm a bank assurance manager at Sanlam Life, Uganda. I'm married with a little toddler who makes me run and exercise a lot. And my husband and I are really passionate about investment, and which is what I would call my side hustle. So
nice.
This is the right space to be in.
All right, so today we're really going to showcase.
Just a minute, maybe I forgot something very important.
Yes.
And I'm going to apologize for the ladies who are in the room. My friend and I, Dorothy, who is in the room? Where is Dorothy? Yes, Dorothy Mwesigwa. We run a women mentorship program, and we came along with some ladies who belong to that women mentorship program. Please, women who are here, would you please stand up, and you are recognized for that. We shall be talking about what we do with that program. Yes, you're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So today we're going to be showcasing the journeys of these phenomenal women seated right here that have successfully navigated the investment landscape in the capital markets. And we're going to look at what it has been for them in terms of being resilient, but also harnessing technology in some of the investments that they participate in, and how they have been helped to overcome some of the challenges in accessing investment opportunities. I think I'll start with you, Faith. Could you just share with us how you started your investment journey, and specifically in the capital market space? Yes.
All right, thank you, Lynn. So, my investment journey has been, it's not very long, but one of the things that, what that brings up into my mind is that I've been working for, my 8 to 5 is my bread and butter, the main source of income. So the thoughts that's always been in my mind is, you cannot rely on
just a second. Just switch off your mic if you're not speaking, and then if it's your turn, you can switch it on. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Great.
So you cannot rely on one source of income. And so the thing is that, okay, so if if 8 to 5 is taking the most of my energy, I was thinking about always in my mind is that what can I do to create a second source of income? What reality came upon me when one of the companies I was working for closed, and I was left without a job. So it became a reality check for me of what can I do, because 8 to 5 is taking a lot of my energy. How can I get a second source of income? And so investment was something that worked for me and spoke to me, because if you have an active source of income, 8 to 5, what should I try out? I'll try it out, maybe try to sell bags, but then 8 to 5 is taking most of my time, and then in the evening, do I want to go to a shop and check out how it's been working? You're not there to supervise. I tried that, didn't work. Tried, lending money on the side, that didn't work. Getting people to pay you is a total, nightmare. I don't know how many people do it. So what really worked for me was like, okay, if this doesn't work, then maybe I can think about how can I create a passive income, where I go to sleep and, there's someone who is working, or there's money that, I'm making money even while I'm asleep. So the CSI really spoke to me, and, I decided to be consistent and to be intentional by keeping a percentage of my active source of income, a way to create a passive income. And with using the Sanlam Unit Trust, I was able to do this. And with starting small, as little, every month, I've seen my money grow over time. And with the power of compounding, you see your money grow. And who doesn't like to log into an app to see so many zeros? And you haven't done anything at all. You just check up and see how your money is growing. And so this really worked for me. And also, it also helped us with my husband to see how can we pull source together and grow together. And so many products, help you. You can have a joint, you can have a separate one for yourself. And using these platforms, checking out, you can even call the unit manager and say, okay, I see maybe the stock exchange where I've put my money is not working well. What can you do to put my money in a better source of place? So this really helped me to navigate the stressful, and uncertainty that can come with the capital markets. For sure, the fact is that it can be, we are generally risk averse. So I am risk averse, I'll be honest. So, you know, navigating, checking up on the stock and how it's working, that was, you know, it felt stressful for me. So using this platform of the unit trust helped me to grow money. We've grown our money over time. We've invested in real estate from this fund that we're putting aside. I think it's really been an innovative and an excellent way that I've seen my money grow, and I look forward to finding more ways to grow money using this platform.
Yeah, and a round of applause for Faith as she navigated the capital markets through a unit trust, and that was Sanlam. So for me, my take from you is, especially for those in the room that haven't yet participated in these collective investment schemes, like she mentioned, we have a brochure on every table. I told you I'm the communications manager and my boss is here. Please, there is all the jargon that is going to be used by these people here. You can have it broken down if you're looking for information on investing in shares, in bonds, unit trusts. Please just make use of this little brochure. I know that we have talked about a few statistics about the SCD accounts. I think Alison had mentioned it, but just to also let you know that as of June 2024, a cumulative total of 92,165 CIS accounts had been opened by Ugandans saving through the collective investment scheme. So you can see how that sector is rapidly growing. And as of 30th September 2024, we have seen the domestic market capitalization. What that means is that it's the value of domestic companies on the stock exchange market at 10.7 trillion. So a round of applause for the capital markets is actually growing steadily. And yeah, a total of 2.3 trillion has been raised through the sale of shares on the stock exchange alone. I think a round of applause for the stock exchanges. Now, I just want to also hear from you, Mercy. Can you just tell us a little bit about your investment journey in the capital markets? Where did you start from, and what do you think made you start investing?
You're looking at me, Sandra, not Mercy.
Oh, yes, Sandra. Oh, yes. Sandra. I had told you to sit in order. You refused. Yes, Sandra. Sandra, please.
For me, I think it was a card that was dealt to me in the beginning. It comes with work. Fine, I'd heard about the capital markets and everything, but on the international level. So somehow I ended up joining a fund management company. And for about 5 years, I'm with them. And I left in 2018 to do personal business, consultancy, and farming and everything. But that was dealt to me, so that's how I get to know about these markets, how my interest grew in there. And since then, it has been a passion. I mentor people, I still speak to the clients. I have a portfolio, I still have a portfolio. You know, people still call you for advice, people still, so it's something that I've taken on passionately, that the networks I've made in there, even for personal investments, I still have colleagues I call. You know, I ask them, you know, to compare, to analyze for me certain things for me to invest. So for me, it's a card that was dealt to me in that sense from a young age when I joined the fund management company, that, you know, I grew the interest that has moved on up to now. So I still mentor people. I still look out for what's happening on the markets. I invest personally in different investment vehicles, assets, and, you know.
Some of those investment vehicles.
Yes. I have investments in the equities, in the government securities, in the CIS. I've gone into property, I've gone into, so it's a mixture of everything. At least I've learned how to manage several, what works for me, how, you know, it's not the whole, in the beginning it's the bandwagon, everyone is doing this, let's do this. Yeah. Everyone is doing this without the knowledge that comes with it. But I think having worked for a bit in this field has helped me, has guided me on what to do and where to go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
And I know Faith had talked about her investment journey in the unit trust space.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us something about the equities since you have invested in them? What has the journey been like for you?
For me, what I look at with the equities, what I've noticed, what most Ugandans do is, even without knowing why maybe a company has put their shares up out there, people go with, we hear MTN is here, we hear Stanbic is here, we hear, and people are buying just for the sake, and then you end up either being disappointed, others think it's a get-rich scheme. I'll get in next year, I'll get out. So people are disappointed in that way. But for me, what has worked for me is investing in different companies. They're not all at the same level. There are some where your dividends will be up there, but also the comfort of it, I know when to sell and then when to buy in, the pricing and everything. I'm able to, follow up on that. I know where to go. If I can't do it on by myself, I'll call up a colleague, an ex-colleague, and ask them, what do you think of this? If I did this, should I buy more? Should I come out? So that for me has worked for me, and that's a call to everyone. Many people just buy the shares and let them sit. They actually don't understand why they bought into the shares, or I just know I have Umeme shares this much and I sit. People don't know that you can actually top up, you can actually buy more, or you can actually sell some, So there's all those dynamics which I think people should be intentional about, not go with the bandwagon, but actually be more informed on what you're purchasing and how it plays out in the market, so that you don't lose out. Let it be an investment you profit from, not just because everyone bought, I go and buy. No, please be intentional about your investments.
Thank you, Sandra. And I think what she's trying to say is that we should always consult an advisor, a licensed advisor by the Capital Markets Authority, a broker that is licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, because they provide these services where they actually guide you on where to invest, how to invest. But also the beauty about the unit trust, the fact that you have a professional manager to help you worry about all those headaches while you rest at home and not have to worry. But of course, depending on your level you are at in terms of how you understand the investment journey, that is a decision you'd have to make. So thank you so much for that, Sandra. Mercy, perhaps you can talk to us about your investment journey as well.
Thank you very much. I have a colleague who is the CEO of Kenya Police Sacco, the largest Sacco in Africa, the fourth largest Sacco in Africa. And he's one of my mentors. One time when I became a CEO, he told me a statement and said, Mercy, some people sit in those chairs and they are CEOs, and others sit in those seats and they are COOs. Yes, CEOs and COs. And so he told me, Mercy, now that you're in that space, you have to be a CEO. What does that mean? It means that there's a lot of expectations from the members. We had SACCOs, and SACCOs are member-owned organizations where people come together and save little bits of money. It's not a lot of money. 10,000, 1 million, 10 million, 50 million. We come together and save money, collective savings, collective investments. And so we find ourselves in that space. And the question I asked myself when I became the CEO was, how am I going to make money for my members? When I talk about members, I talk about Mercy as well, because I'm a member of the SACCO. And one of the things that we looked at is we need to make sure that money makes money all the time. Money makes money all the time. What did we do? We invited a group of key members in our SACCO, and we sat together in the boardroom. And we said, how can we invest for our members? And the first thing we agreed upon was, let our money make money. Wherever it is, it should make money. Trust me, we had money in bank accounts. We still have money in bank accounts. But we make sure that that money makes money. Yes. Someone talked about research here and reading and shopping the market. We had to go and do research from bank to bank, from different investors in the market, from the players in the market. Who is going to invest our money and who is going to give us a good rate? And because of that, we agreed that we have to diversify our investments. Diversification of investments is very important at group level, but also at an individual level. Because if you keep all the eggs in the single basket and you fall, you lose it. So we realized that we needed to diversify our investments. So we decided as a circle, we are going to invest in unit trusts, we are going to invest in government bonds, we are going to invest in real estate, we are going to invest in, of course, supporting our members. That's our biggest investment, supporting our members in loans and other things. And so it was a journey of, now where do we start from? And so we had to go out and look for people. And people came and told us what they had on the market. Yes, they told us. We invited them. What do you have? What do you give us? One thing that I appreciate about collective investment is when you have big money, you have a voice. You can negotiate the price. Did you know that? You can negotiate the price. And you know the challenge with us is sometimes we want to invest as individuals, but I've found it very beneficial to invest as a group. Even if you are a group of 10 ladies, and then you come together, put your money, and so go and meet a CEO of Capital Markets Authority and say, we have our billion, what do you advise? She will sit and listen to you. So we sat and listened in to people, and they gave us different offers, and were able to put our money in different unit trusts, and they make money. At first, we used to invest and fix money for a given period of time. And then as we read newspapers, you know, when you invest, you start read about these things, go on Google, what is happening. And then we realize, no, there's another product. Money makes money, you know, you invest unit trust, and then every day interest accrues and earn interest on interest, and you're like, yeah, let's go. Right now we have our good portfolio, about 25% of our portfolio, and our circle is has an asset base of about 70 billion, and I can tell you that about 24% of our money is in financial instruments, unit trust, government bonds, and other investments.
Please clap. Woohoo! Woohoo! I didn't hear. Woohoo! Okay. Yes, we were still enjoying. You're finished. Wow, I think that was inspiring, actually. You talked about the circles, and how many of us here belong to circles? At least one or two. Wow, literally half the room. Over half of the room. And how many of your circles, how many of you have circles investing in capital markets? Wow, that's quite a good number. Please clap for yourselves. I think that's something that we need to learn, that there is a concept called diversification, where you can actually put your investments in different asset classes. It doesn't have to be, we're not saying go and put all your money in capital markets, no. All we're saying is, can you diversify? It's okay to build your rentals. It's fine. It's okay for you to invest in your honey's business. You know, it's okay. But can you also put some aside in the capital markets? Because you just never know where you will actually get the bread for that day or for the future. And yes, she talked about having a conversation with the CEO of CMA about where to invest. Yes, she will go and you'll talk to her, but at the end of the day, she will send you to licensed capital market intermediaries. I think that I should make that very clear. The Capital Markets Authority regulates all the players in the market. And so we do not offer investment advice, but we have investment advisors that we license. and you can visit them. All the information is on our website, www.cmauganda.co.ug. You'll get the list of brokers. You'll get the list of fund managers who help you open up your unit trust. Some of them are actually in this room. Some of them have sponsored our event today. But really what this is to tell you is just invest in someone that is licensed. Do not go for anyone in the outside of the market. Yes, so can we hear from Ms. Vasta Kamara on your experience investing in the capital markets?
Thank you very much. My journey is one that starts way back when I had just left university. I had not heard much about investments in the capital markets or anything. And so I left university excited that I'm getting a job because I got employed actually before I graduated. Stanchart was my first employer. I was excited about the pay, and I knew that it's important to save. However, the purpose for saving was quite skewed. I was determined to save and travel the world because finally I had money and I had no other obligation.
You had
and
arrived.
Traveling, I traveled. I think until 2 years down the road, I started thinking, there must be more to do. Yeah, like invest the money, let it grow. And it so happens that about that time is when the Safaricom buzz happened. I don't know if any of you participated in the Safaricom IPO. But yeah, if you did, yeah, it was such a buzz. I feel like that was the first time I was hearing about the equities market, the IPOs. It was as strange as can be, and yet it had such a buzz. And so, because everyone was, pretty much that I knew was getting into that space, I thought to myself, I need to make a wise decision, time to invest. So I go to Dan Blair, there's a long queue, good sign. This must be a sign that this is a good investment to make. I joined the queue. I didn't even know the right questions to ask. People are, putting in lots of money. Remember, I had been spending all my savings. But now I'm seeing this good investment. I don't have enough money. So I go borrow money. And I borrow 10 million shillings to put in the Safaricom IPO. Now, talk about lack of information. I am borrowing, which means I have to make a monthly repayment, and I'm borrowing to put that money into an investment that returns a dividend, and dividends are not monthly returns, and they are not guaranteed by the year. So for me, the introduction into the capital markets was a head-first landing. Totally bruised, frustrated. I think 2 years down the road, I think to myself, this doesn't make sense. I need to pull my money out because I needed to clear the loan and just understand what space is this that I'm in. Yeah, managed to secure some of the money. Again, not the wisest decision if you're going into equities, because later you learn equities are long-term investments, they are not short-term, and I can tell you by the time I pulled out my money, I think I managed to secure just 6 million shillings. Don't tell me if I made money. but I know that those who stayed long-term started to, get dividends. And you decide when to get out, when the share price has gotten better. And so for me, that left me bruised, but it also taught me a couple of lessons. It taught me that I needed to understand what I was investing in. It taught me that not everything that everyone is excited about is what I needed to invest in. And it also taught me not to borrow money, to invest. Keep to the discipline of save and then invest. And so my time in the bank thankfully exposed me into investment advisory. So I actually went ahead and got into the investment advisory spaces. I used to advise, as in the wealth management department, I used to advise people with billions of dollars where to invest, how to invest. So I got a lot more knowledge about the investment space. Now, leaving the bank, I get into coaching, leadership coaching. I'm teaching people about finances. Where should you put your money? Of course, all that is information I'm getting, and now I'm teaching people. And it also enabled me strengthened my investment muscle. So now you start to understand there are different portfolios of investment. I can invest in bonds, they are more secure. I can invest in unit trusts because when I want my money, I can pick it out without losing lots of money. It's a different dynamic if it's in bonds and different dynamic if it's in equities. And so just getting to understand the different investment spaces is very empowering. So when I left those spaces, I moved Harvest Multipurpose Cooperative, opened shop in 2021. And so I became CEO later. And at that point, HMC had a portfolio of 500 million with just 200 members starting out. Now, we have since grown. Our current membership is 3,000 members. These are voluntary savers. You know, if it's institution-based.
Let's clap for that.
Yeah, you know, if it's institution-based, you have no choice on the saving. They'll deduct the money and remit it to the cooperative or SACCO, whether you get annoyed or you're happy or you support the idea. It is policy, you've signed up, they'll do that for you. But when you have people voluntarily putting their money aside every month, it's a sacrifice that they have made, and it clearly speaks into a discipline they are trying to grow, considering we innately as Africans are not savers. You'll save and then a problem will come up, that's the money you'll think about immediately. You break the investment, call out the money, and this is for no more expenses. Paying rent, which you should have planned for, buying food, which you should have planned for. But I guess it's because our earnings are different dynamics. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. And so the savings muscle is one that is just developing. And so to keep encouraging members, you need to invest that money well for them to realize that it's a worthwhile thing to do. And so over the years as a cooperative, and of course with the knowledge I had amassed over the years, we have seen the cooperative invest in equities. And I will tell you, getting people to approve an investment in equities, you're dealing with so many leaders on the executive who are telling you, no, equities in Uganda don't work. No, I have an experience. I mean, I also had an experience, like I shared. Others are like, no, I've not seen a stock that appreciates. We should not put our money there. However, I really do appreciate some of the entities. SBG, for example, has been an amazing support for us. We managed to invest in MTN as an institution, but I can tell you it was a journey. I can't tell you how many times we called SBG to talk to our leaders. Now come, they explain, take them through the process, then the investment committee understands. Then you're like, now it's at the executive for approval. EXCO is like, no, I don't understand this thing. Maybe we should put it. Then you call them back, they explain again. So it is such a journey. And yet now I can confidently say it's probably one of our best investment decisions in the equity market that we made. Because when we see the appreciation, yes, when we see the appreciation of the shares, you're thinking, thank God we went in when we did. And that's the beauty about investment, that sometimes you will not understand until you get in. Sometimes your fingers get burnt, but when you start the journey, you get better, and you get better, and you start to make money. So that, in a nutshell, has been our journey. We invested in equities, in bonds. We invest in collective investment schemes largely. We invest in properties, and yeah, a couple of other things. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Vasta, for that. I think she has actually dived into the different asset classes in the capital market space and the power of diversification, but also she's highlighted that you need to have a goal for investment, and that what works for one person may not necessarily work for the other, given your investment journeys and your stories of life. Thank you so much for that. And I think we can also go back to a statement that President Museveni made last year at a gathering in Kololo, where he said, Uganda needs Ugandans need to develop the culture of raising joint capital. Collective saving is important. That is how capitalists develop their countries, by floating shares and raising capital to do big investments and ventures that they could not do individually. So you collectively save, and because of that you're able to get huge amounts of money, and then you have a voice. You can go to any office and they'll listen. And I think that's the power of collective investing, collective saving. But you also said something very, very important, that you cannot invest unless you have savings. So you need to first save and then invest those savings. Otherwise, you'll end up borrowing, and then it will be a very bad story for you. Yes, so thank you so much. Next, we shall have our very own medical doctor on the panel, Dr. Christine Lubega. I'm very glad she's here, because anytime I go into labor, I know who will work on me. So thank you, Dr. Christine. Please tell us about your investment stories in the capital markets.
Thank you very much. My journey started 6 years ago, and that was with Britam as my fund managers. And it was quite, I think it was a coincidence. I'm going to take you through how it started. I had some savings on my account. You know, in the bank, when you save, like when I had worked for some time, I was saving my money. Then I accumulated some money. And I wanted to start a second business because I already had a medical center. And I didn't know the where, the what, the how, and the which business to start. So I wanted a business which was stress-free, first of all. I wanted a business that is easily to monitor, something easy to monitor, because I already had another business. And I wanted something with minimum loss, that I don't want to run about people stealing my money, the losses that I will encounter. So I wanted something that will work for me, that won't put me at stress. And as a busy lady, I didn't want any other second demanding business. So I wanted something that will give me assured returns on my investments. So I had already ventured in rentals. I had a lot of rentals that I had gone in. So I didn't want to go again in rentals. You know, when you're beginning rentals, you have to look for land, plan approval, building. Then you come at a hassle of looking for tenants there and then. So I didn't want to go into that. So one evening, as I was having dinner with my husband, he's a financial expert, I had to explain to him my business dilemmas. Then we had a chat. Then he enlightened me about the investing my money in a hassle-free business. And he talked about the unit trusts, the bonds, the stocks, the treasury bills. And you know how that can sound with a medical doctor. Me, I'm more in the sciences, and he's telling me a lot of things. Now you have to do this. So at first I didn't buy it, because I was thinking, now money growing without me knowing. I put my money in a fund which I don't even know. But he encouraged me and told me, you know what, you go to Britam, they'll explain something to you. So I walked into Britam, but before I walked into Britam, I did my research. You know, I'm a person who I first keep my money. I work for this money, so I didn't want to just go into something I haven't read about. So I did a research, you know, with internet and the books that we have. I went when I was really equipped. So when I entered, I met some the investment people in Britam. They talked about so many things, and then they advised me about the different things that I have to invest in. And actually, I bought it because it was a hassle-free. All the things that I had put across before, what I wanted in a business, was with Britam. So I started my journey with them, and I think I haven't regretted. We have moved on very well, and every month, I'm very happy to see some returns coming into my bank account. And that is so exciting, because I just sit back, and then at the end of the month, I look at my phone, wow, and the money is coming in. So that is my journey that I started with Britam 6 years ago, and I'm not regretting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christine. And that is Britam, who is also a key sponsor for today's event. We've heard from different representatives of some of the well-represented brands here, Britam, SBG, UAP, Sanlam, all of these have been invested in by our different panelists here today. And I do can convince you that they are actually licensed by the Capital Markets Authority. So please feel free to invest in any of them. I want to go in the second set of questions, but I also am mindful and cognizant of the time. So I just want to do a whole round of questions, and I know in their submission, they'll be able to tackle the question that I was actually meant to ask them next. So we can finish in time, but also exhaustively, to make sure that it was a quality delivery, yeah? So Olive, you can help me pass the mic around. Any contributions, questions, probably something you thought should be talked about a little bit more by the panelists? Please raise your hand. Yes.
Thank you, Lynn. My name is Hermione Nakabugo. I work for the Capital Markets Authority, so it should be strange that I am interacting, but it's an opportunity for everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my input or my concern would be that we've heard about all these things, and it's mostly in English or Luzungu, Lunji, if you know what I mean. I believe all of us are from different parts of the country, correct? We have people from the north, from the east, from the west, central, south. Why aren't these things being shouted in local languages? We all know that even when you're teaching a child in elementary school, they learn more in their local language, especially if they speak it at home. My concern is, too much English. Can we simplify these things? Because again, the market people we are targeting, most of them speak in local languages. Even you, when you go, you naturally switch. Nyabo is a nyanya za meka. Even when you have too much English, you will come down to their level. So can we come down to that level, especially in this space and the people that we're targeting?
All right. Thank you, Hermione. There's a hand at the back, extreme back. By the way, the men, don't feel shy to put up your hand. I know it's a women in investment breakfast, but you also have a voice here. Please, feel free to raise your hand, the men in the room, ask your questions.
Thank you so much. My name is Beatrice Mosisi Kasozi. I am a nurse by profession, and I'm so excited about Vashti, the Worship Harvest representative. I have a question for the panel. If there's a circle of friends, and are they able to join your circles and invest alongside your circles? That's one question. And then to everybody who is in charge of all of this, first of all, thank you. How are we targeting the diaspora? You'll be surprised. Not many people. I happen to be from both worlds. And I asked my friend, Winnie, who is my sister too, I heard about this money markets. What's this all about? So I'm just wondering if there's an avenue where we kind of have point contacts who communicate to people in the different diasporas, and if we are reaching them and educating so that that money can also be invested back home and be more efficient. And also for children, because there are packages, like personally, I pay into a 529, but what if my kids go to school here? Is there a space or a product that just targets education for children and building on to that? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And maybe to shield the panelists, because they do not directly work with the intermediaries, but because I'm representing the Capital Markets Authority, and we are hosting together with the Uganda Securities Exchange, I'll allow a submission from the USE. On behalf of the CMA, I can guarantee you that if you have a need for capital markets information, right, just reach out to us, send an email. Actually, I'll just give you my email for this specific reason. We'll come to your office, your organization, your circle, wherever you are, and we shall deliver that talk on investing in capital markets. The only call to action I have is for the different market intermediaries that we have, because all we can do is give you that information, but in terms of signing up in the capital market space, we actually need the intermediaries at the organization where you've called us to. And so this is a call to action for all market intermediaries when you hold upon to come with us to the field and spread the gospel on investing in these different asset classes. Please come with us. So my email, if you have a pen, is lyn, that's Lyn, .tukei, that's 2K, lyn.2K at cmauganda.co.ug. I will be in touch starting next week, because this week I am organizing the World Investor Week. But yes, starting next week, I'll make sure I respond to all your requests, and you will actually be able to be visited at your organization and talk to you about capital markets with one of our market intermediaries. Please just let us know and on that email, and we'll schedule in this. In terms of, I think Hermione had talked about the aspect of breaking down into local languages, and I think it's a fair ask. For example, the Basubuzi down there in Chikubo, who actually have lots of money in under the bed, in the sacks, and all these places. How can we help them invite them to invest in some of these amazing opportunities? So yes, breaking down into the local languages. Again, with the market intermediaries, we have different speakers because they come from all over the country who can actually speak and engage. So the same approach, please let us know. As the Capital Markets Authority, we shall be able to schedule these visits. All right? Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Finally, a gentleman.
Yes. They say opportunity comes to those who take it.
Yes.
And I'm glad I'm the first gentleman to speak. It's an honor to be a part of the ladies here. My name is Collins Mark Namanya, and also representing Britam. I've seen none of our competitor bodies has come out to speak, and this is a platform, so I'll also speak on their behalf. As fund managers, I'm from Britam Business Development. We are mandated to do what we call financial literacy. So we are able to take you through whatever opportunities you need to invest in. We guide you based on where you want to invest, how you want to invest, how much you have, what goals you have for the future. Are they short-term? Are they medium? Do you have a long-term goal? So we take you through basing on how you stand as an individual, as an entity. And we also, you can invite us to take you through financial sessions. If you have like circle meetings, you have club investment meetings, please use them to invite people like us, companies like us. Give us a slot where we can teach your people about the benefits of investing. So please, once you reach out, she'll share our details. You can come to our desks outside. There are a lot of people waiting for you. Once we do this, let's do some networking, get to know, get more knowledge. Like one of our panel says, she's left university without knowledge and she dived headfirst in. But if she had a session like this, like the one you're having, where she knew who to talk to, how to target them, or I think she would have used that 10 million to invest in something that would actually have given her more benefits. She would be further than where she is right now. So thank you very much. Please, let's engage.
Yes, thank you so much. If she had a session like this, and that means kudos to the Uganda Securities Exchange and the Capital Markets Authority. Yes, please clap. If you're not in the mood of clapping, you'll do a hoo-hoo. Okay, I see what you like. So yes, and there will be exhibition halls actually already set up, the stalls. Please go and interact with all these market intermediaries. They'll tell you all you need to know. They'll actually sign you up if you want to sign up right away. It seems we don't have any questions for our panelists, so I'll ask my own very last question and then we can wrap up, yeah? So as a woman, and this goes to all of you, that has successfully navigated the capital markets, what are the key challenges that you have faced and how have you overcome them? Now, in explaining how you have overcome them, just inspire the ladies in the room and the ones watching us online, because we are streaming live on our YouTube channels on CMA Uganda and on USE Uganda. Just give them a nugget of wisdom on how they can actually overcome some of the challenges they think they have, and sort of inspire them, because today we're talking inspiring women, inspiring all the genders, of course, but we are focused on the women today because we have been an underserved community for such a long period of time. And we are talking money, we are talking wealth. So in that, probably you can as well summarize with your parting shot. And then with the interest of time, we can close the panel, yes. I'll start from the extreme right now.
Okay, some of the challenges that I've faced is, for example, financial knowledge. You know, how do you navigate this space of the capital markets? And there's lots of information, lots of bloggers that talk about finance. I think these have really had a great impact. You know, when you are scrolling through those reels and you have and you see all these pages, they help you to gain this knowledge to invest wisely, how to use the money market. So these things make you think, you know, do I have an emergency fund? All these are avenues that will help us that if I lose my job, I'm able to, you know, sustain my lifestyle for the next 6 months or a year. And these are avenues that, you know, can help us in that, you know, help me and can help us with, you know, navigate these challenges, you know, getting information, knowledge, educating yourselves, reading books. So these really help to, you know, arm yourself to make, you know, good financial decisions. And then when you're uncertain, having, you know, the professionals, they help you really, you know, you rest your head and they're able to explain to you, and you know, they carry the burden of trying to navigate and monitor all these stock exchanges. So having a professional really helps you to, you know, gain financial freedom at the same time managing the risk. Then also starting small and being consistent is one of the things that I found very key. How can you do that? Technology helps us. Do you have a direct debit? You know, all these are things that can help us. Mobile money. When you start small and stay consistent, you see your, you know, the zeros grow and your money grow. So using these tools helps you to stay active and have that financial discipline. You know, there are apps that helps you with budgeting. You know, how do you allocate your money? So these things, these are tools that have really been very impactful in helping me to grow money. And also, you know, networking events such as these, you know, when you meet the stockbrokers, then you understand, you know, engaging in, you know, online forums, X spaces. These are things that have really, that are really impactful to educate yourself and to arm yourself to have, to achieve the financial freedom by, of using, especially by use of the capital markets.
Yes, thank you very much, Faith, for that. And I think the one thing that comes up a lot is the technology advancements, that some of these apps are, all these investment opportunities are in form of apps, right? If you can download a budgeting app to help you keep track of your money, budget well, but also different intermediaries have advanced or are challenged to advance in the technology space and come up with all these different innovations, such as even working with, for example, the telcos to come up with a USSD on how to invest, because gone are the days where we have to carry a paper to the bank every time we want to invest in a bond, or if I want to invest in a unit trust, is there an app? Do I have to, you know, again go to the bank? So all these innovations come a long way, and I think that is something we shall be discussing more on our Capital Markets Roundtable this coming Friday. Please join us at the Kampala Serena, because we'll have all players in the market that will be talking about the aspect of innovation, digital technology, but also finance, and how we can integrate that into the capital market space. Yes, Sandra.
Thank you. Starting out, my major problem was the knowledge gap. Of course, there's a lot behind, let me call it the back office, let me call it that. Most of these things we see now, I think now we have the opportunity to go online and get the information you can read about so many things, but when I started out in this market in, I think, 2013, there's a lot you couldn't find online. So there was a knowledge gap. You're into this space. I was interfacing clients at that point, and many of them were ignorant. You're telling them about an investment a product, and they think you're lying. They've never heard of. I started out with the CIS, the unit trust and the mutual funds, and many of them could not believe that you could have a product without taxes. You could have a product where you could access your money, you know, as and when. So it was quite tough penetrating the market at that point. Most people didn't have the information. They couldn't find it. They would, you know, I'm sure even CMA didn't have enough information that they do have now. But I think we have grown from that point. There's a lot of information out there, and to our benefit, that even as I mentioned something, you can actually just Google, you can, you know, just put in the company name, the fund manager's name, and then you find information. I think we've grown to that point, which is quite a plus for this market. And then for my parting words mainly, okay, what I want to encourage us to leverage on is mainly the numbers and the power of compounding. Many of us want to do things alone. There are times if you needed, say, a big amount of money and 3 of you came together, that is the power of numbers. The 3 of you could share that burden. You'll move forward easier. It's easier for you to move forward with, you know, the 3 as opposed to 1. You could miss an opportunity because you want to go for it alone, and you can't make the numbers at a particular time. But if you let someone help you with those numbers, say you split the burden into 3, you could do double what you could, you know, what you can't do as a person. So for me, the power of numbers and then the power of compounding. When I was in this field, most of the biggest challenge I got from people who are starting out, they ask you, what if I save 100,000? What if I save 200,000? What interest should I expect? And of course, you give them the, you know, the current rates, maybe a 10% per annum or an 11%, and they're saying that is very little. Not knowing that if you kept that money there, you topped it up, however little you're topping up, and then the interest, whichever interest comes in, if it keeps compounding, you're growing your money. But most people don't look at it that way. They look at, I'm starting with 100,000. If it's a 10% of that, that is very little money. 10,000 is very little. Not knowing that, you know, it is, you'll earn interest as time goes on. It will be 100,000 plus the 10,000. You see, if you're purchasing something and it's 100,000 and you're missing 100 shillings, that doesn't make the figure. If it's 100, it's 100. They're not going to give you the product at 99,000. So even if you're adding on 100 shillings, that is something. It's better than having, you know, your amount of money constant for over, say, 5 years. Over the 5 years, even if it's 10,000, even if that's better. So that's something we need to embrace, the power of numbers and the power of compounding. And then, of course, the other thing I can't stress enough is get an expert. There's nothing as bad as following the crowd, because you will definitely get burnt. Get an expert. By the way, these services are free. You could walk into, say, Old Mutual, you could walk into Britam, you could walk into any of these fund management, you know, companies, and you get this information for free. They will not charge you for their time. You know, it's their business. So get an expert. Talk to someone to direct you on where to go, because you'll definitely know most of these things. For, personally, I'll speak about them, you know, freely, because it's taken me time. I started out in 2013. I don't know how many years those are, 10, 11, and now it comes off my tongue freely because I've been in different spaces where the different investment vehicles have been used. I can freely talk about them, but it took time, and it's also because I sat down with experts. So if you go in as a layman, because everyone is going, you're going to knock, and trust me, that's not funny. That's not a beautiful scene for any, you know, you need your money to work for you. You need to enjoy your money, not to cry about the losses you've made because you followed the crowd. Yes, those are my parting words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I think she has said it all, and information is power, really. So please go do your research, read about all these investment opportunities that are available in the capital markets, but also you can consult with licensed intermediaries. Yes, thank you, Sandra. Mercy?
Thank you very much. One, I would like to start by again honoring Britam. I'm here because of Britam. And just to mention that they are the people that have actually walked the journey with us most, and our biggest portfolio is with them. Why? Because they listen. They listen. They know how to put information in vernacular. You don't have to be an accountant or these people who know a lot of math. However, you go to them and tell them, I want to know how my money is working. They will put the numbers in Excel, then they will add English words, some English, but if you don't understand, I'm sure they will do some Luganda and Nyankwere and others, but they do that a lot. And for me, in this market, that's what we need, customer care. Are you able to really meet the need of your customers? That is very important, and I applaud them. If you could just give me a second to just comment on something that the people asked here.
Yeah.
Someone asked about the circles of friends, how people can join circles, how people in the diaspora can join circles and invest. Now, in the circle industry, I think it is one of the trusted model of investment now in Uganda. I think we are now gaining space in Uganda. Those years, when you would tell someone, I work with a circle, they would be like, what are you talking about? Are you sure? Couldn't you find a job in the bank? Yeah, but I can assure you that if you get into the cooperative sector, into the circle sector, and you deal with muntu wa wansi wananchi, you feel the impact of something that you're doing. And everywhere you go now in Uganda, there is a circle, somehow, somewhere. The common bonds are different. Maybe it is a church, maybe it is a school, maybe it is teachers, maybe it is traders in Chikubo down there, but you find a circle somehow, somewhere. And these circles, because of technology now, we have members who are not residing here in Uganda. Our members are residing anywhere in the world because of technology. They are able to save, they open accounts, they borrow, they do all sorts of things because technology. So go out, you cannot fail to get where to be if you want to join a circle. And trust me, like Vasta said, one of the things that we are very intentional about as leaders of these circles is to come up with governance structures that protect our members' money. We protect our members' money, and one of the ways we protect our members' money is, again, to grow it. We grow it in these spaces of where are we putting our members' money. That is very important for us to appreciate. The challenges. I think the ladies have talked about the challenges, but I want to first talk about my own challenge that happened to me when I was, I think it was around 2005, I started business. I was living in Kabale that time, right? And I started business, children's clothes. And I'll come to Kampala for shopping and then go back. One time, I came to shop. It was a Saturday morning. I came with a night bus. And I came to do shopping, side hustle, you know. And I carried my bag, money. It was in a big bag. It was a maroon bag. It was cloth. So I walk from Kabala, I mean, Mnacharo from Kabala. I walked to downtown. I was carrying my bag, closed my body, and behold, I sit in a shop, and I start picking things. By the time I get into my bag to pay, I found a big hole. All the money was taken, all right? All the money was taken. Trust me, that time, there was mobile money. But I was not very sure whether it was for me. Am I speaking to someone? Yes, there was mobile money. I was not very sure whether this mobile money was for me as Mercy from Kabale doing that small business. Maybe we thought it was for big people who have lots of money, who have good phones by that time. And I am coming to a point of unwillingness to learn. Ladies, we are closed in a box. That's one of the biggest challenges that we find as ladies. We are closed in. We are risk averse. You don't want to venture into any risk because my money, if I lose this money, I am actually finished. And what men do, they will get 50% of that money and put it in a high risk investment, another one in low or medium risk investment. Before you know, they are the top 10. Yeah? So let us open up, let us do research, let us network, let us talk to people who have made it. Let us sit at these tables here. You see these tables here in front? Let's sit at these tables, not, they're in quotes. I'm not saying the tables behind our, in quotes. I'm talking about we need to be in this space. We need to research. We need to get information. We need to use technology, right? We need to use technology. And for us who are in the circle sector, Vasta talked about it, we have lots of protocols, right? Before you make an investment, you have to go through this, lots of protocols. Because, and I really understand, the board has to make sure that money of 3,000 members is safe. Now, the question is, how do we bring them to the board? We have people who are ready to educate us. He mentioned in Britain, you call them, they will come, and they will sit with you in the boardroom and talk about these things, right? And then before you know, you've hit the deal, you've invested. Number 2, or number 3, I think I would like to mention that we have people who are looking up to us. Yesterday, I got a call from one of the circles. This is a circle in the village, and they said, we have money. We get money from our members. And some of them is fixed money, members fixed money with the circle. I mean, they fix it at 10%, and they are putting it maybe in some conventional banks, and they're giving them maybe 3%, 5%, 6%. And they're asking, how can you help us to invest our money? And I talk about mentorship. There is vast space for mentorship. I was mentored into investments. Right now, I sit and I'm able to discuss with anyone in this sector because I understand the sector and I continually learn and research about the sector. But there is someone who is down there in the village who wants you to hold his hand or their hand and tell them, you can actually make money here. I want to part by saying, ladies, let us not be enemies of progress. Yes, let us not be enemies of progress, especially when it comes to our own investments. You know something that has worked for you. Look out for someone and share information. Share information. You don't know how many people you're going to impact, how many people you're going to serve. Some of us who are in the circle space, every day I receive about 10 members who come to question, ask, where can I put my money? What is working? You get it? If you don't have information, you cannot help your people. And if you cannot help your people, then you cannot impact and serve communities. Let's go out. Let us support one another. Let us mentor, even if it is for someone who actually has a shop next to you. I always tell people, this is my last statement, I always tell people that some time back, I used to go to these big malls, Capital Shoppers, whatever, and then, get a trolley and go and pack things on the trolley and go home. Feeling good, happy, yeah? You have a car, you can go to the shopping mall. But just know, next to you there is this lady who has a small shop, right? And they have 3 or 4 bars of soap. And actually their soap is cheaper than what is in these big malls, right? But if you go to that shop and buy the 3 bars of soap, that is the whole the whole capital they have, you don't know the impact you have created in that family. You've bought a meal for the family, you have paid school fees for a child, you have also paid a medical bill for someone somewhere. So ladies, let us go out there and mentor and hold people's hands and learn and impact communities. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much for that impactful message, Mercy. Yes, Pastor. And Christine, in 2 minutes, please, as we wrap up.
Wow, 2 minutes. All right. Challenges, I'll try and keep it short. I think I'll share challenges that I've experienced in 3 forms. Lack of resilience, mentorship, technology. Resilience to say that I think, and I spoke into this a bit, people or individuals naturally are not savers. But I like the group spaces that we are starting to see people get into: investment clubs, circles, village saving associations. And so my call is for the Capital Markets Authority and USE to just get into those spaces and empower people in those spaces, because when people are challenged, then they are encouraged to do more. When we started the cooperative in 2021, 2022, it was growing and people were saving, but we realized that the percentage of savers, consistent savers by the month, was about 49% of the members. That has since grown to having at least 75% of members consistently saving. And it's a journey. You need spaces where you're going to be challenged, you're going to be penalized, you're going to be encouraged, you're going to be taught, for people to actually have that transformation and walk that journey long term. The second one is mentorship. Like Mercy has said, many of us go out there and we're doing things in secret because you're thinking, it might work, it may not work, my thing will be copied. You just want to surprise people. Unfortunately, you end up getting surprised. Yes. I'm happy to say that Mercy is actually one of my mentors in this cooperative space, because when we started out, we didn't know so much. And the people in the cooperative and circle space have created such a community that I can go and invite Wazalendo to our AGM and they'll show up. And they will advise you during the AGM. Our last AGM had Wazalendo in the room. I mean, these are people that I would probably never reach. They have billions of money they are managing. We are now at 15 billion, which we are celebrating like we are at 2 trillion. But it's because of the journey we have made. And just seeing these people's lives changed and being transformed, it just gives you the picture of we can get there and we will get there. The third thing, which was technology, I love what MTN, Airtel are doing with helping us access information on our phones. My ask and prayer is that we utilize many of these platforms more. The reason people end up in Ponzi schemes, betting companies, is because it's in their faces and everyone is in a hustle. They have a problem they need to solve. So the thing they will quickly remember is what is in a squeeze back on a TV, what has a big billboard attracting them to walk in and make quick money. If we could create more visibility for some of these things that are safer. I mean, collective investment schemes. Not many people understand that you will actually get an interest every month. Do you understand? And so that is something that I think we need to work on, because it's a journey, but we will get there. My parting shot, I read that somewhere, and I thought this was really interesting, that the biggest risk of all is not taking one. The biggest risk is not making an investment. Yeah, you'd think investments are risky, I do not know them, but the biggest risk is actually not making an investment. Because the more you hold on to your money, whether you're keeping it on a bank account, under your pillow, in your socks, it's depreciating. The only guaranteed way to grow your money is if you're actually investing it. And I think this needs to go hand in hand with saying that we need to have a long-term perspective while we do this. I appreciate that this is a women's space, because women tend to have a long-term perspective. I'm sure the people in the insurance space will tell you when they are talking about SOMA and school insurance policies, the people that quickly sign up are the women, because they're thinking, How do I secure education for our children when we are not here? How do we guarantee that our children get into university? And so as the women, we must maintain that long-term perspective. Over 300, I think about 300 billionaires that exist today are billionaires because they inherited wealth. It's not a thing of, I'm going to be the billionaire, it starts with me and ends with me, you know, that kind of thing. And I think as Africans, if we change that perspective, that we are investing for the long term, then we will see many more billionaires in the top range. And so my encouragement is to take the risk, make the investments, have a long-term perspective, and of course, Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So think your children's children, not yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Vasta, for those beautiful words of wisdom. And I think the one thing she talked about was about investing in regulated entities, but also the visibility of these market intermediaries. I think that's another call to action, that how can the market players actually spread the gospel, spread the awareness about the different investment opportunities that they're offering to the Ugandan public, for example, because this is something that can actually change someone's life. And for me, the other call is to the public. Please, if you see an unregulated entity or an unregulated person, please report to the CMA, and so we can be able to get rid of some of these, I should call them schemes, Ponzi schemes, scams, but they're also here to deter progress in a capital market space. Because, I mean, you said people invest and they don't want anyone else to know, and then they end up getting surprised. That's what happens when you invest in entities that are not regulated, and that's how many of the Ugandans get privy to these scams. And so please do your research, but also check the status. Is it licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, especially if it's getting money from the public? Thank you so much for those words of wisdom. And then lastly, we'll have Dr. Christine. She said at any one point, if she's called by the hospital, she'll run away. So I am glad that no one has called her, and we are still safe with her. So please, Dr. Christine, you can give us your parting shots, challenges, and all that.
Thank you very much. The beauty part of it, to be the last speaker, most of the things have been said, so I don't want to go over and over again. So the only challenge that I think they haven't mentioned is, for me as a person, it was trust. First, I didn't know where my money was going. You know, this is hard-earned money. You have kept it for some time, and someone gives you that you have to put it somewhere. So I had to build trust. But I thank Britam. It has really given me comfort, and it has really advised me where I should put my money. And that challenge, I think I've that one at least I've, I think, passed it. So the only challenge there, it was trust. The rest have been mentioned. So I'll go to the advice that I give women in business or people who are choosing to invest. So one advice, most of them have been said, but one thing I should tell you is always have objectives. Do you want to invest in long term? Do you want to invest in short term? Do you want liquidity? These are the things you should think about before you join in. Don't go with the bandwagon, as they have said, that because so-and-so is investing in this, think through what do you want in the future. So secondly, another thing you should think about is choosing the right investment managers for your money. Don't just go for anyone, and do research before you go for the investment. You know, these people, they have a tongue that they talk. Every investment company will tell you this is good, but do your research. For me to choose a company, I had to do research. And for sure, I didn't regret about it. So please, before you choose anything, choose something, choose an investment, people who are available. I just make a phone call and Britam answers. There are people you call and they don't even answer you. But at least at Britam, I've been comforted about that. Last but not least, never fear to invest. You know, I think in this room, I don't think we have any other doctors, but I'm going to encourage the doctors to start investing. Never fear to invest. However small money that you have, you can start small. You'll never become bigger if you don't start small. You know, some people think when you invest in these capital markets, you have to have a lot of money. 10,000, 100,000, 200,000, that money builds, it grows. And actually, instead of getting loans, you rather put that money somewhere, like if you have a long-term investment that you want to do, in 5 years' time, 2 years' time, you can accumulate that money as your money is working for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And another round of applause for all our panelists today. I think they've done a fantastic job. Maybe just to say that as the Capital Markets Authority, we are licensing 2 security exchanges. That's the Uganda Securities Exchange and Altex Africa Group. We have licensed unit trust managers. Some of them have been mentioned, but as a regulator, I don't want to appear as one-sided, so allow me read the ones that are actually regulated. Sanlam Investments East Africa, ICA Investments, Old Mutual Investments Groups, Zeno Technologies, Britam Asset Managers, SBG Securities. Then for the licensed brokers, we have Crested Capital, SBG Securities, Dyer and Blair, Old Mutual, Cheaper Technologies. For the licensed investment advisors, we have Blue Solitaire Investments, Sail Global, PKF Consulting, Old Mutual, Standard Chartered Bank, Profin Group Limited, Agola Holdings, Asigma Capital, Regency Wealth Management, Level Africa, JSR Consulting. And for the licensed fund managers, again, we have ICA Gen Africa, Zeno Technologies, Inua, Britam, UAP, Gold Catch Uganda, PCP Uganda, and Sanlam Investments. So those are the people that are currently licensed. Of course, we issue out licenses, and we always publicize the list of licenses on our social media channels. Please follow us. Thank you so much. Let's have a group photo, and then we can wrap up. A round of applause.
Thank you so much, Lynn, and all the panelists. I know we are not doing so well on time. Irene has been gracious enough to be here with us throughout. She'll be giving her closing remarks, but before she does, I'm just going to ask Sophia Chuck, the Manager Investor Relations at Stanbic Bank, to quickly come and say something in 2 minutes. Then after Sophie, we'll have Irene give her closing remarks. Thank you.
Okay, I'll keep it exactly 2 minutes. Good morning. All protocol observed. The CEOs here of Capital Markets and USC, thank you for the invitation, and we're glad to sponsor. But I also want to recognize every CEO in this room. I had a number of them mentioned here as they were discussing. Maximum respect to all of you for all the companies that you run. Thank you for running those companies. So allow me to speak on behalf of Stanbic. I actually represent Stanbic Uganda. We have more than the bank now. We have Stanbic Bank, that most of you know. We have SBG Securities, which is brokerage and unit trust firm as well. We have an incubator. Some of you know about it, Stanbic Business Incubator. We also do have FlyHub, which is a technology firm. And then finally, we have a property company. But if I may just pick it up from some of the discussions that were had, we're talking about investments. I want to draw it to the level of I want to take it to the population statistics that we had recently. I don't know how many of us paid attention, apart from some of the noises that came from it. And I'm not going to talk about the noises. I think we looked at our population. I hope you paid attention. If you didn't, please do go back, because it's going to think and form how you discuss or think about your investments. The bigger population of Uganda is how old? The youth. Let's speak about that. Some of us are youth, but older youth. So 50% is below what? 19 years of age. Then 70% of our population is below 30. What does it tell you about your investment? We need to be thinking together about the younger population if we are going to make this nation move forward. Someone actually said that we need to move from a place of being discussed on the table to being at the table. Do you know the difference? When you're on the table, they're saying, what can we do for Uganda? What can we do for X? What can we do for Y? We need to come to a place where we have built sufficient knowledge and expertise in investments, in savings, in how to build capital, to the place where they are calling us to the table and saying, what do we do for this group and for that group? Now, as a nation, and I think capital markets is doing a good job. I looked at the population here. We're trying to get the knowledge to everybody, but each of us has a task. And from Stanbic, I really want to emphasize the thought process around that population, because most of us here, a few years from now, 40 years from now, will be the what? The older population. So if we haven't thought for this young group, guess what? We'll still be funding their families. You've heard of the story, right? Not only will the person not only are you paying for their school fees, you're also going to pay for their marriage, and also for their what? The home stuff. That's what we're at risk of. We need to think very hard about investments. It's not a question of whether I should invest or save or not. Every one of us needs to be there. And the participants here did mention that it's not just about me. It is about pulling all the other ladies. And for us ladies, it's not a question. It's very easy for us to pull others. So the circle structure is a very good one. The circle structure, the investment clubs, it is without a question. Whether you are in a big investment club or a small one, remember the principle of long-term thinking. It grows. So I'll encourage each one of us, if you're not in a circle or an investment club, whether as a company or whichever, join one. Now what I'll say about Stanbic is we do offer subsidized lending rates and facilities for the circles, so that you can expand. Borrowing in and of itself is not bad. It is the lack of discipline. It's the lack of discipline. So what we do is offer those particular subsidized facilities, loans for the circles. The second part is the training, getting knowledge. Many of us have been fooled. I'll speak about the first one. When I was in university, I got into the pyramids. I don't know how many were old enough at that time. But I got into the pyramids and I lost my entire pocket money, never mind that I owed my family as well. And that was my first lesson. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is extreme power, and the knowledge is available. Guess what? If you're lazy, we have a young population, isn't it? The one thing they have is the what? The phone. Why don't you encourage your kid to actually do the research for you? Tell them the homework for today. Bring home information about Stanbic or MTN. And that will trigger information for you to invest. As opposed to being, many of us are so worried about reading all those big books. The kids will actually read it. No, okay, not the kids, the young people. The teenagers and the younger folk, let's get them involved at a very young age. How many of us have seen the backpackers from the Western world come to Uganda? And guess what? They've actually come using their own savings, not their parents' money. Can't we do the same for our children? Can't we do the same for our population? We have to start teaching them at a very young age. Those piggy banks, get them interested in stock. The reason why the Western world is doing well is because the private sector is predominantly the one that runs the economy. But if we cannot grow the knowledge of our companies, our smaller companies, and get them to a level where they actually get to decision making, it's going to be a challenge. So start with your kid. Start with them at a young age. Get me information about Stanbic. Get me information about MTN. Get me information about, name it, all the companies listed here. They are on the website. And as Stanbic, Our annual report is there. You can get the information. I know other companies also do have there, and let the kids do that research for you. That is building their knowledge. They will begin to challenge you even in your investment. And you know, when a kid challenges you, you will step it up. You don't have a choice, isn't it? So at the incubator, the business incubator, we do the trainings for formalization of your business, the structures of your business, so that you are eligible for facilities. Not just within Stanbic alone, may I add. As you get this knowledge and build the right structure, we'll be able to attract the right angel investors. Last year Kenya got about close to $1 billion. It was about $800 million. Investments, angel investors, people who just want to come and find out about different companies and invest in them. Uganda, as a country, we got 143. Look at the difference. Huge difference. What do you think is the challenge? It is the lack of information. Before I invest in a company, many of this Western world, they want information. Africa is not called a dark continent, not because of our skin. It's actually because of the lack of knowledge, or rather lack of information. Very important that we put the right structures in place, and one of the areas you can get information on how to do that is our business incubator. At Stanbic, we vow to continue to partner with the USC and CMA to do the necessary education and help us get the structures. There is a saying, and I think one of our panelists mentioned it here, that if you want to go quickly, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with other people. And far, not just from a company growth perspective, it is from a national growth perspective. If I can challenge us, ladies and gentlemen, even gentlemen in the room, I think the time has come for Africa. We need to work together. We cannot afford to say it's just my circle here, it's just my company here. We need to be working together to make sure that our continent gets on the map and stops being on the table. Africa has to stop being discussed on the table. We have to be at the table, and we have what it takes. So I'll encourage you, for those of you who don't have structures, our incubator is open. Learn how to get the structures in place, the right information so that you attract the investors and make your business grow. The last point I'll mention, ladies, let's start thinking long term. And gentlemen who are here, I respect you. This is quite a bit of feminine energy. We bring the energy in the room. So I respect you. Let us learn how to think long term. The reason why many have fallen for Ponzi schemes is because we want quick money. Where is the next big deal? I should be thinking, because remember, 70% are below 30. So that's going to be churned into the workforce in the next 20 years, isn't it? Yeah? Actually, 50% are below 19. That's the whole workforce. So for us here who are already employed, that's competition for you. That's coming for your job. What if we teach these kids how to think 10 years, even now while they're at school? Make a 10-year plan. You're making that kid begin to think long term. That is our country beginning to develop. The challenge we have is that we have money only for today. We need patient money, and that's what the capital markets drives. That's what will help our nation go forward. And that's the other place you can get that is actually Stanbic. So CIS is a good opportunity, and through SBGS we can offer you that, and I think the other companies have also been mentioned, but SBGS we can also offer you CIS investments in all these other platforms. All these other investment platforms can be offered to you through SBGS. As Stanbic, we are happy. We say our purpose is driving Uganda's growth. We are cognizant of the fact that Stanbic can't grow alone. We want everybody to grow alongside us. And I hope that 10 years from now, when we're having this gathering, we have the first company in Uganda that is competing at an African level. Is that possible? I don't feel the energy. 10 years from now, when we're having this discussion, there should be a Ugandan company that is being talked about apart from just Dangote's farm. Is it possible? And it will even be more exciting if they're ladies, because the woohoo will be higher, not so, eh? It will be much louder. So once again, thank you for the opportunity. We are very happy to partner with you. We have people who can give you the advice within SBG Securities, within Stanbic Bank, within the incubator. Let's make sure that 10 years from now, we're in a much better place. Have a lovely morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophie. Without wasting any more time, Irene, please step forward. A round of applause as Irene comes to give her closing remarks.
So yes, ladies, good afternoon. It's already afternoon. It's not morning anymore. Good afternoon, ladies, and the gentlemen who have made their biggest role in complimenting us. So thank you so much for making time. I want to appreciate the organizers of this event, or this whole week. It's dubbed as the World Investors Week, right? Now, to me, when I was informed, actually it came to my attention yesterday that I was going to give closing remarks. Don't mind about the invitation letter that came in earlier, and I knew all that we needed to do was to be part of the event and participate. So, but it drew my attention to how I have been attached to Uganda Securities Exchange, but also to Capital Markets Authority. And this takes me back to 24 years ago, so don't calculate my years. But I'll get closer to 2008. So my background is in journalism. But when I dived into journalism, my specialty was in business reporting. So I did a lot on what you're all speaking about, and I want to align myself to the lady Allen from Smart TV, where you drop everything else and say, you know what, I think I need to make an impact. And so my impact was in promoting the women in this world, but more specifically in Uganda. So in 2008, one of my best awards that I received was with Uganda Securities Exchange. And this was in public awareness. And public awareness meant that we were reporting, or I was doing stories that talked about what do you need to know about securities exchange in terms of IPO and all that. But there was this lady called Harriet Chiwanuka who mentored me. Most of the panelists talked about mentoring. You need to find out who can mentor you. And so I spent almost all my time building my journalism in understanding what is securities exchange. And that same year, I was able to register a company which celebrated 15 years last year. So of course, within the same journey, I was one of those who was so hyped up by the IPO of Safaricom. Of course, I did buy shares. The ones of Stanbic, it was really an award that came with a compliment of Stanbic. And like they've mentioned, sometimes we don't go back to understand we need to top up, or you know, do you need to sell? So I've never topped up on Stanbic. Stanbic, you have a role to come and look for me. But also the next year, I was able to be recognized by the Chikonyogo Capital Markets Award. For that in time was about financial inclusion. And so I did a lot of financial inclusion features whereby I was able to promote women again to understand where best can they be in position to invest. And so that is my story of coming back home when I was told, you come and give their closing remarks. So thank you so much. And I don't think when they sent the invitation, they knew that background. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful week. Today is a Wednesday. We are going on up to Friday. And I know a lot of information will be shared. At the end, I'll speak about the action that I think will be a call of action. But allow me to speak to the speech that the remarks that I have with me here. So distinguished guests, esteemed leaders, and inspiring women, as well as investors. This room is filled with women, full of warmth, but also looking forward to receive the information that we received this morning. The two panel groups that we had since the first one and the second one, which has just concluded, is such a resource that I believe we are not going to be the same anymore. to me, actually, I have already made a decision that part of my money should be invested in another unit trust. I'm already in some unit trust. So thank you so much for that, re-energizing us once again. So it's been an honor to join this morning at the Women Investment Breakfast as part of this World Investors Week. Our discussions, as you've already heard today, have not only reinforced the immense potential that lies in the tech-enabled financial inclusion, but also underscored the critical importance of bridging investment opportunities to women. And this is where the point is. So as we reflect on the conversations we have had, one message stands out: inclusion through innovation. It is no longer just an idea, it is a reality that we are building together. We've heard from the lady from Stanbic Bank saying we need to move together. You cannot move alone anymore. So technology has opened doors that were once closed, allowing women, irrespective of their backgrounds, geographies, or economic standing, to access financial tools and opportunities that can transform their lives. As a CEO of the Presidential CEO Forum, I wear a number of hats, but let me talk about Presidential CEO Forum. We have a mandate of convening CEOs, and I believe, as an author, I've authored a book that I say everyone is a CEO. So in the third of our biannual events where we are hosted by the president, I only focused on women, and so I called Women in Business. And the success stories that were featured, we took them to Chove, were amazing. But what am I speaking about? That the moment you give knowledge to women, they will never stay the same. To date, I'm proud to say that there's some women in this country that I've been able to nurture, to touch, to share a lot of resource with, that I'm proud to see that she mentioned that we don't have the 10 top richest people, but just at least have the belief that we have richest women in this country. And so those are the ones now we should also profile, yeah, and so that we can encourage others. So it is very important that we look at these transformational workshops or breakfasts that will encourage so many of us to be part of those women. So as we continue to live in the world where digital platforms and fintech solutions have the ability to unlock wealth, building potential for women, allowing them to participate in capital markets, invest in businesses, and also gain financial independence. Today, we have seen and we have had a number of people talk about the different barriers, information gap, mention it. How best can we build this literacy going forward? And also build the financial inclusion to enable a number of women to have their banking statements speak for what they are doing. So as leaders in our own various capacities, the private sector and public sectors, it is our responsibility to champion this cause. Capital markets, Uganda Securities Exchange have brought us here, but we are all saying it's our responsibility. And as such, let's clap for capital markets and Uganda Securities Exchange. Our task has been made clear. We must work together to create policies, platforms, and products that are inclusive by design, but also tailored to the needs of women. Isn't that what we are speaking about this morning and afternoon? So this means building environments where women can thrive as entrepreneurs, investors, as well as decision makers. Today's gathering, ladies and gentlemen, has really amplified me and motivated me more to think about what else can we do for women. In a few of you are able to challenge and say, we've had there's a CEO for the Presidential CEO Forum. What and how best can we challenge ourselves? That is taken on. And I want also to pride by saying that that was 2021, before Josephine joined Capital Markets Authority. We also were able to carry on the conversation of having alternative financing, that is private equity. In this financial year, we are proud to say that the income tax has been exempted from both private equity and capital ventures. And that, to me, Josephine, we need to continue the conversation, and we build more on how best we can build more strategies that can bring about empowering women. So I encourage every CEO in this room, business leaders and policymakers here today, to not only continue the work we have begun, but to accelerate what we have begun. So let us focus on collaboration between the public and private sectors, between industries and also investors, to ensure that the driving of sustainable solutions, that we have long-term impact. Everyone has talked about what is the long-term impact. This is very important for women and to have them be financially empowered. And so as I close, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Capital Markets Authority, to Uganda Securities Exchange for organizing this important event, and to everyone who has made it a mandate. This is intentional for you to be able to come and stay all these 5-6 hours this morning. So thank you so much for making time, and we're looking forward to building more opportunities, more networks, as well as get to the drawing board. As we talk about getting to the table, let's also get to the drawing board and see what else should be done. So thank you so much for being part of this journey. Let us also move forward and see how best we can build innovation with shared mission, and that is empowering women through investment. We say that women who are empowered, then they empower the world. And as such, as I conclude saying for God and my country, my call to action, as I'd promised, is Madame Josephine, let's have a program. I know you've already started with Smart TV, but also on the national TV, or any other TV station, or even the radio stations. And let's create awareness about what it means to have alternative financing. Our target is not only the people in this room, but every single woman out there. In my journalism time, I noted that the women who are at the grassroots are actually going to change this world. She earlier mentioned, can we translate in the different languages? That is possible. But partnering and collaborating with key institutions that create awareness, trust me, we will then be in position to build this conversation on financial inclusion to greater levels, but also speak to what government is talking about, the tenfold economy. It can only be achieved by the women. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this afternoon, for God and my country, and I look forward to having maybe the fruitful week as we continue with this week of investment.
Thank you so much, Irene. At this point, we're going to have a quick photo moment. I'm going to request Josephine and Paul to please join Irene up on stage for photo. All right, thank you so much, Irene. Thank you so much, Paul and Josephine. We are wrapping up, but as we do, I'm going to request Josephine and Paul, apologies for disturbing you. We want to have a quick photo with the sponsors today. Our sponsors today, we have Smart24, we have the MTN, we have the Deposit Protection Fund, we have Stanbic, we have ICEA, Gen Africa, Britam, the Deal Flow Facility, Bank of Baroda, Level Africa, NIC. Come on, guys, you know yourselves. Let's make this quick. Just come up to the stage very fast. Let's have a quick photo. As they walk up, please be informed that the World Investor Week is still on, and on Friday we'll be at Serena. And we have quite a number of stalls set outside by our licensed players, so please feel free to walk up to them after this and just get more information from them. Let's give this team up here a round of applause. Without them, this would not have been possible. Thank you so much for supporting us and for partnering with us. And we hope that you'll continue to work together with the CMA and the USA. All right, thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, all good things unfortunately have to come to an end. Thank you so much for being an awesome crowd. Thank you for coming, and we hope that we'll see you on Friday. As we wrap up, that QR code you see on the screen, we know ladies love pictures, so just scan that code and you'll have access to all the pictures that have been taken today. But also I've been informed that there's a photo booth right outside for those of you who would want to take some more photos. And we also thank the online audience. I know there are quite a number of questions online, but our PR team will be able to respond to most of those questions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap. Thank you so much and have a blessed week. See you on Friday. CMA ladies, kindly come up on stage for a quick photo moment. And USE ladies, please, interview.
You've even had time for a sing.
We don't want to go viral.